All of us. The long, patient wait for YouTube to finally say signal is excellent. Yes, good. Good. It says excellent and then it takes a few seconds. I never really know when it goes live chat. Like, I just know that I press a button and then eventually something I say gets picked up. Either way, we're live for sure now. How you doing, little chatfishes? Today we got another Bunch cast coming to you live from, I wanted to say Los Angeles because I'm stealing something. It's not in the basement, it's an apartment complex. Come on, let's be reasonable here. All right, so today we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff today, actually, because the more I think about it, there's a lot to talk about that's happening in the industry. But a big thing that I really wanted to make the forefront of today's Bunchcast stream, because I care deeply about it, is Helldivers 2. And I wanted to discuss this with you guys because I think there's a lot of... Actually, no. The more I looked into the grifting side, the misinformation, I actually found it was kind of much smaller than anticipated. It just felt like it was louder than it really was. So that's my own misinterpretation there. But the thing... Oh, go ahead.
I was saying, it's a couple people loudly screeching from the rafters about it.
Yes. But it's worth talking...
Makes it seem bigger than it is.
Because, you know, it's important to set the record straight, right, about the whole issue. And this particular issue is about an article from PC Gamer where Pilestedt, the creative director behind Helldivers 2, basically went to go to an interview with the UN and talk to PC Gamer about it, about, you know, what was the actual thing about, like, fascism or something? It's like clothing and propaganda.
The UN was talking to Arrowhead about how to get the ability to manipulate and trick people into supporting fascists.
Yeah, and somehow it's like it was tied to clothing.
Yeah,
it's like I don't think
the good old fucking Veilhoven's fucking. They're not evil enough. Let's put Nazi gear on them.
They're not evil enough. Put Nazi gear. Yeah, and literally make it the same grays too. That was funny about the Starship Troopers movie, where it's like, okay, Paul, calm down there, buddy. Calm down. But what's interesting is that the idea here is that, conceptually speaking, clothing dictates what you are, which is laughable, because that means that when I worked at Burger King, it means I'm a monarchist.
Well, yeah.
Back in high school. Yeah, because the idea is it's like, okay, so if you dress the same, therefore you are that thing. So it's like, okay, if everyone dresses up as a soldier, then they're all fascists. Like, what? That's so nonsensical.
It's the hitman mentality.
It's nonsensical for a few facts, because it's like an ideology is not defined by fashion. That's just so goofy. Unless we're talking about Kill la Kill, which I think in that case it was about fashion. But either way.
Yes, but that's
no, it's
a silly anime.
I know, that's what I mean. It's silly. The concept that fashion or clothing will dictate your ideology, right? So it's like, oh, we both like, you know, plaid shirts, therefore we're communists or something.
Therefore something gay sex.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's a silly notion. But the big thing is that people were trying to conflate that Pilestedt was basically calling his audience stupid. That this is what people tried to propagate. That you guys like Helldivers 2, you're a Nazi. You like Helldivers 2, you're a bad person. You're stupid. Everyone who bought my game is stupid. That's the dumbest fucking thing I think I could ever think about. Like, the idea that he would say something like that is so nonsensically stupid. And you gotta remember, PC Gamer is gonna take leading questions and take things out of you know, certain context, which did happen. That sort of makes it come off that way. But the reality is, Pilestedt actually compliments his audience and community and basically says, no, I think they're smart enough to know the difference between these two things. I have faith in the fact that people can make the distinction between these two things. And that's the thing where the miscommunication comes in. That's the thing where, again, the headline is way easier. It's like, you know, Helldivers 2 devs hate you or something stupid shit.
I just have reservations about it because he's complimenting us about playing his game and then tells everybody,
Mm,
hey, when you play your game, you become more resilient to fascism and manipulation. And it's like you're just belittling your audience a little
mm.
because we don't need your game to do that. We're playing your game because it's entertainment.
Yeah. So the big problem here is that when you try to add a what's the word, like a high-minded narrative to a video game, you're gonna start losing people, mostly due to the fact that, especially if the game doesn't really need that or make sense. So in the context, for those of you who haven't played Helldivers 2, because I know some people in our audience are kind of skeptical on picking it up still, that's fair. But the big thing is in this game, you're basically fighting, a survival, a war of survival for our species against forces that want our extinction. The Terminids, a destructive force of basically shrimp-like bugs that want to devour and consume everything in their path. The automatons, a socialistic, like, not necessarily hive mind, but like machine race kind of hybrid race, sort of cyborgy still, where they take your brains and use you as processing units, grab civilians, pile them up on, and basically grind their flesh up as biofuel to feed their machines, as well as the brain processors in those like little robots and stuff. And they
Yep.
literally have these little things with ground up civilians, and it's not just Helldivers in there. They're wearing civilian Super Earth clothing. All right. Then the third and final enemy you have is the Illuminate. Now in the previous war, you could argue maybe Super Earth that was in the wrong, but in context of the second war in Helldivers 2, the Second Galactic War, the Illuminate not only have weapons of mass destruction, they have obliterated a few planets already from existence. Not only have they done that, but they actually mutate horrifically the citizenry of Super Earth to the point where they become monstrous like zombies. And
Now,
when you kill those monstrous zombies, they salute you, thanking you for putting them out of their misery.
You covered the fact that the bots are screaming for death, right?
Oh yeah, I almost forgot that too. Yeah, the bots are screaming to basically kill us, or basically kill them, because they're in absolute agony and torture because they're being basically used against their own will. This is
Now, I'll point
dystopian
out,
as fuck, by the way. This is
the Helldiver, the Super Earth in the first Helldivers game was 100% correct. The Illuminate did have weapons of mass destruction.
that's true. They did.
They can manipulate black holes to destroy things.
You know what? I wasn't really thinking about it like that, but yeah, no. The Illuminate were just pretending not to have them. Okay.
They
Well,
pretended
the ones
not to
that got away were the ones that had all of them.
I mean, I think it's safe to say, lore-wise, even okay, playing devil's advocate here. Super Earth is a totalitarian regime, right? It's not a place I would want to live, or any of you, I'm pretty sure. But at the same time, the issue is when you take a totalitarian regime and then you surround it with things that are horrifically worse than that thing, it becomes not necessarily the worst thing ever. It's like the Imperium of Man in Warhammer 40k. The Imperium of Man in Warhammer 40k is probably one of the worst science fiction factions to ever live in. Period. Like, compared to any other science fiction faction outside of its own media, it's evil. However, inside its own media, inside its own universe, it's good, and it's a force for good. And the reason why is because the reason why it's so horrific is because what they face is so even demonstrably worse because of the things it's surrounded with, like chaos, orcs, necrons, and all these horrific monsters that basically are hell-bent on the total eradication or extermination or subversion of humans to the point of even consuming their souls as food. So in that case, it kind of makes the Imperium of Man not necessarily evil in the context of their own universe. That's why when you're a tourist or you're new to a setting, and you're only getting a little bit of a lens on it, you look at the Imperium Man and be like, oh my god, that's horrible. Well, yeah, it is. It's supposed to be.
Yeah.
In the case of
Now,
Super
two
Earth,
things quick.
it's the same thing too, because they have to worry about... Oh, go ahead. What's up?
Some in chat were saying they can't really hear the music at all.
Oh, I could turn it up a little bit. You guys really like the
And
music, huh? You want more?
you have the video playing.
Oh, yeah, good.
Damn it.
I was
Yeah.
paid. I was paid to play this for you.
If it's not, Bucky's gonna make you sit here.
You're a fucking traitor, Fabian.
All right, Chatfish. We were gonna play the Assassin's Creed credits because this stream is also commemorating the death of Assassin's Creed.
It got
There's plenty to talk
assassinated.
about for that, but after we get done with Helldivers.
But yes, we will move on to that subject. I need to start that because I was paid $180 to watch the entire outro. And so if we didn't start it now, we'd be sitting here for 2 hours and 6 minutes.
Before we get back to the topic, I'll read Shadow Fox's membership milestone. He's been a member for 69 months. It says, Sup
Nice.
Kibbles, greeting from the desert.
Mm. Now the big thing to go back to the Helldivers thing is that you got to remember here, chat bros. The big thing when it comes to all this is that a lot of what Pilesjet says, basically going forward after the article, you can kind of tell that he stepped in it. And the first way you can kind of tell that is basically Artemis's conversation with Pilesjet on Twitter. Now, because you actually spoke to him, go ahead and run chat through the conversation. I'll start from the...
So the big thing was that I needed to try to get him to agree to actually talk directly to me instead of just getting like bogged down in all the replies. That's how I had to start that out.
Yep.
I also told him that he's an entertainer. He makes entertainment. He needs to stay in his lane. And that people didn't buy his fucking game for politics.
Yep, that's true.
They bought it to be entertained and for escapism. And that's where he does his initial thing. Fair point. You can just enjoy for what it is. So just what do you call simplistic enjoyment is basically his response. And then I started asking him about, okay, well, what in Helldivers 2 actually shows that the Super Earth is evil, barring the fact that the entirety of the First Galactic War happened over 100 years ago. And as far as I'm aware, Super Earth didn't have a way to extend human life significantly to the point where the people who were running Super Earth then would be running it now.
Yep.
And he has not given any indication in the conversation that was a thing. So he's taken it as that humans have the same normal lifespan. So you have almost 2 generations removed in terms of the
first war and the
control.
second.
Yeah. And so the evils of the First War, if any, were not done by the people running Super Earth today. So my problem with all that is that now you have a situation where it's a defensive war, and you can clearly see it's a war of annihilation, because any planet you go to, you don't see civilians running around.
They're gone. They're back, and you're either when you go to planets, the only time you ever do in the game is when you evacuate them. And you know what's interesting?
Yes.
When you're evacuating the civilians, they target
vacate.
the civilians.
Yeah. The civilians are wholeheartedly thanking you and they're saying that they knew that you wouldn't abandon them.
Yep, because they were holding out hope for you.
And so then he says something about I don't know if you could scroll down.
Yep, I can. I think this is the last thing. Very good and well thought through. Yes, Super Earth has been at peace, but there's a peace that can be achieved by the elimination of all opponents. The Romans called this Pax Victoria, if I don't remember correctly. I think that's actually true. That's actually how it's called. The peace, while not an open conflict, does not mean everything was well on Super Earth, but it doesn't say it wasn't either. We let the audience make up their minds about what they think. For us, it was a way to move the story forward, and maybe something we explore in the future. Who started the war and is according to Super Earth the bugs, but who's to say what Super Earth reports to its citizen is the truth?
And then I explained that Super Earth has to rely on the bugs for fuel, or else their galactic civilization collapses and billions die.
Yes, because infrastructure, they need these E710, or in the case of oil.
Just how we farm beef and chicken for the same reasons, I don't see how that's like a
demonstrable
horrific thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think I actually completely understand where he's coming from on this, because what he's saying is the exact same thing that they said and thought for the first game. Like, yeah, obviously Super Earth's bad, and like it was a lot more obvious in that one. And he's not seeming to realize how Helldivers 2 is made. He's only looking at it through a lens from the first game setting.
And to be fair, he was there at the beginning of its inception, right? And so
Yeah.
he's kind of worked on this project so long, I think that he's kind of become blind to how it's grown and changed. One of the big things about this game that's actually changed, by the way, I like how whenever I adjust myself, it wiggles like that. But one of the big things that happened is that the players actually influenced this war way more than the previous wars. And why is that incredibly important? Well, the big reason is because the player's choice actually determines the lore of the setting. And the players have chosen that this incarnation of Super Earth, this century, like, there's a case to be argued for the previous one, right, 100 years ago, but the one that exists today in Helldivers 2, in the Second Galactic War, is not demonstrably evil. Because we are given choices in which we can choose what actions we did. Like when we went to go save the children's hospital, remember we streamed that, chat? We were there. We chose to save the children instead because it was the right thing to do. Yeah, it was fictitious. It's a fake game, right? But in this game, I'm a Helldiver. I'm not just a grunt. We are special forces. We are the elite troops of the Super Earth military, right? And we go in where nobody else can and do what nobody else can do. We are the heroes. And go ahead.
If they wanted, because Palestat made a declarative statement that Super Earth are baddies, right? And if he wanted that to be the case, he wouldn't have given us the option to choose a good outcome.
Yes, that choice basically detracts that whole point of like what he wants. So the big thing that Palestat I think doesn't quite realize is that he's lost a great deal of narrative control over the setting, because the minute you introduce player choice into this particular case, the players now have a say in the story and the universe. And that's cool because very few settings actually do that. And what's actually happened here is reverse subversion. The developer's own like story, and there's nothing wrong with his story, by the way, whatsoever, for what he wants to tell. But the players have chosen a different path. They've chosen the opposite path. They've chosen the path of walking the high road, doing the hard tasks. Yeah, we didn't get rewards for doing that, but it wasn't about the rewards, was it? We wanted to save the kids because we're the good guys. We're not the bad guys. And so because we walk this road and we're on this road together, I think what the developers need to realize is that we're making this together. It's not just them anymore. They do 90% of the work, obviously, with the coding and the models and the stuff and the content. But because we get to play with the story, we get to decide what our Super Earth will be, because we are influencing Super Earth's actions. What battle Super Earth wins and fights is up to us, the community.
Yeah, and you cannot dictate the morality of a thing while also giving the option of what it chooses to the player, and then the player choosing the moral high ground.
Yeah. What I find rather fascinating about this is that I actually think that's amazing and cool what they've done with this game. We can actually choose what Super Earth is in this game. We make it. Like, we the players are building Super Earth right now. In this war, through its actions, we are determining the Super Earth that's fighting in this war. And is a Super Earth an empire of good? I stole that quote from something. That'll trigger Germans. But the big thing is, this empire of good basically is doing the right thing. Yes, there's propaganda. Yes, it's a war. Look at World War II. Look at the Allies' propaganda machine, how much it lied and told things like the Japanese had goofy eyes and the Germans were, so like goose-stepping and
fighting the Nazis.
Yep, it's propaganda. And propaganda, there's nothing wrong with propaganda in wartime, because your side, you need to win. You need to psych your people up because you're fighting a war that's terrifying. And what's the best way for Super Earth to do that is to psych people up for what they're fighting against, because they are fighting a war of annihilation. These three great powers that are attacking us have no intentions of suing for peace. This is literally World War II, right? We are not going to be given a conditional surrender option. It's unconditional surrender, meaning total eradication. The automatons want to subvert all of mankind, just like the Illuminate do, and while the Terminids want to completely devour everything.
Yeah, they are the cane toad of Australia. They are.
Ribbit.
Yeah, you cannot negotiate with the Terminids because the Terminids are ruled by instinct, and therefore an enemy that you have to destroy, break, and then control. That's the only option. There is no
Let's make peace with the bugs.
yeah,
There's
there's no
nothing we can do.
negotiating. There's no diplomacy. You cannot interact with them as a rational actor.
Mhm.
Whereas you have another faction that's a super terrorist at this point that can just ram black holes into fucking planets and blow them up.
Yep, sending all those on that planet, condemning them to death.
And one thing that I noticed about the Illuminates is that they really, really love targeting civilian areas. They avoid going after any
They're
military
abducting.
things.
They're abducting colonists, and the thing is, I could see the argument like, well, they're abducting them to save them. Then I look at the actual Illuminate we're fighting, and I see the warped and twisted vestiges of human super Earth citizens. And
Yeah.
when you kill them, they beg for, or they salute you as they die because you set them free. And that's dark, and that's cold, and that's cool, and it's cool because it's actual environmental and story, or no, it's not environmental. It's gameplay storytelling. In the game, through the gameplay, they're telling us that these citizens were taken against their will and converted into horrific monstrosities, and lost control of their bodily functions. And by killing them, you are setting them free from their
Setting
own
them free.
like trapped mortal coil.
Make us whole, brother.
It's not Dead Space, but they do look mutated. Yeah.
No, but really quick addendum. I think that the whole the issue the game devs had is that they had that European very shallow mentality about what is evil, where it's like yes, like they dress in uniform and march around, they're obviously baddies, so like, and then they started working on the actual bad guys of the setting, right? The Illuminates, the bugs, etc. And then they put like actual stuff like in those ones, and they're like, okay, Super Earth, we don't need to make bad because of course they are bad. They march around in uniforms and they
have
you know?
skulls.
Yeah, they have skulls. And it's like, my dude, that's basically like a child looking at a cartoon villain and going like, oh yeah, he has an ugly face. He's like, you get what I mean? It is that very almost childlike.
Oh yeah, the tall fat kid is always
understanding.
the bully. Yes, usually do.
Yeah, yeah,
Tall-
yeah. That's the thing. And like that's why like whenever like they go like, oh yeah, super, even if the devs come out Super Earth is the bad guys and something, I ignore it because like it's just people that they didn't put like two and two together. That's why they like Artemis talked to him and like Artemis like said the things and the guy like, wait a second. Because the moment he started to like think a little bit more than 5 seconds, he's like, oh shit, we are kind of targets.
So, Pilstat kind of just abandoned the conversation at some point. And if you see my last paragraph or last
Yep, right
lines
here.
of dialogue, basically, my contention is solely that Super Earth can suck, but there hasn't been a demonstration in Helldivers 2 that they are the bad guys. Clothing doesn't make one evil, which is a lesson Starship Troopers teaches creators.
Yes.
If Palstat wants to declare that Super Earth are bad, he needs to demonstrate it directly.
Yep. He needs to demonstrate it in the actual universe, because
But
we do know. Hold on, we do know that Super Earth is authoritarian. Yes, like that. That is without a doubt. Are they fascist? No, they're not fascist. Fascist is a specific type of government. Just like I don't think they're socialist either. I'm not really sure what Super Earth is quantifiably, mostly because we don't know enough about their government and their structure.
They're a hyper advanced EU.
Yeah, it's basically like the EU got roided up and won World War III and took over everything. They're not entirely socialist. They're not entirely they're not fascist at all. They're not communist, but they're kind of goody two shoey in that
They're
vibe.
central. They're probably like some sort of.
They've got
Central
lots of
controlled
regulations
bloc.
and lots of laws, which means
Yeah.
that they're actually more equivalent to the EU basically taking over the planet.
So there's a concept that the German people wanting to eradicate the uncertainty of decisions and morality by making everything hyper standardized
And
and
automated.
making things a process that one must follow, because if you give direct processes for a person to follow, they're not going to make moral decisions based off of their own morality. They
Yep.
will follow the process.
Hence the
And
whole
that's what
managed
Super Earth is.
democracy. Because
Yeah.
it's democracy. It is a democracy, but it's a managed democracy in which that is basically, you're right, it's been Germanified. Like to the point where
Right.
there's no way to fuck up this democracy because there are so many rules and regulations onto how this democracy functions that it can only really work a couple of ways. So it can't accidentally elect, like in the case of the Weimar Republic, elect, an actual, or actually not fascist, but an actual socialist, Hitler. Or in the case of like the Italians, like you can't accidentally do that in Super Earth because they won't allow that to begin with. It's still authoritarian. It's like it's a weird hybridization of a democratic system, but with authoritarian like regulations. So it's kind of weird. Where the status quo is kind of the same, kind of static, if you will.
One thing that's funny is that like in the game, like you guys mentioned, when you could save the children's hospital, right?
Yep.
But there's another piece of gear in the game that I really like, and there's a lore in the description that I think it's very interesting. Is the Constitution?
Mhm.
It said that like it's a relic from pre-democratic times, right? But it's also said that it is given to every citizen at the age of 16, like as a gift, and encouraging them to enlist.
Mhm.
Not forcing them, encouraging them. So basically, like what that means is that like
You still get the choice.
okay, you get the choice. Maybe they have like some sort of social credit score. I don't know. They never indicated they have it. But there's one thing that I noticed is that like it also shows that okay, even if you don't enlist, they still want you to be at least able to protect yourself a little bit. They do not disarm the people completely.
Yep, you'll
'Cause
see weapons
disarming-
scattered across cities of even Super Earth like high quality ones, as well as even low quality weapons on farmsteads.
And ammunition
For break-
everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
You also find
Because, like-
boxes of buried. What do you call those things when you bury something and it's got emergency supplies?
Supplies, yeah.
I know, but there's an actual term
Uh,
for it. No, there's an actual term for it because in the game there will be
weapons
these,
cache?
weapons caches buried around settlements because the citizens basically hid weapons there and ammo, and you can actually go and recover those weapons and ammo. So
Yeah.
they arm their population. The government in Super Earth has put such faith in their people that they're allowing them to be armed. That's
Also,
monumental, actually.
also the biggest like retardation is when people say that Super Earth's communist or socialist. No, because like there was in the game there was an ad that would run in the Super Destroyer for deodorant, Eagle Sweat.
Yeah,
And
there's
it was
ads all the
basically,
time encouraging people to buy stuff or buy like basically
Yeah.
war
Oh
bonds,
yes,
like,
okay.
support
So
the
now
war.
we need to talk about economics real quickly. So we know for a fact Super Earth isn't a fucking fascist or a socialist state because of one key component. When they did the crossover, we learned something valuable about Super Earth's companies and corporations. Stahl Arms, which again is a reference to Kill a Zone, because the character Stahl Arms, which produces the weapons for Helgast or Helgen, is also an arms manufacturer and corporation on Super Earth, one of others. These companies are privately owned, and these companies basically produce their own gear and items which Super Earth buys. That means that because they have independent corporations and companies, they're not like they are authoritarian, but it's always hard to gauge how, right? Because they don't take direct control over those companies. Because if this was like the Zaibatsu or whatever the fuck it was called in imperialist Japan, they would have subsumed control of those institutions.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think it's. I think Super Earth is an authoritarian system based, and the authoritarianism is how one conducts democracy
Yes.
and the one of choice, and they have tailored a lifestyle of how a good citizen conducts themselves.
Mhm.
And then everything outside of that you have to ask permission to have, and then they give it to you or allow you based off of merit or something.
Yep, it's maybe a bit of a meritocracy slipped in there, but also like you have to fill out forms. That's the big thing, like the breeding forms, and I know that's a joke, or the pet fish, which I really wish they would put in the ship, but those forms you have to fill out to do those things. There's so many forms, or it talks about all these forms you got to fill out, and that really, to me, reeks of German law, like massively.
Yes.
Everything's got like some sort of regulation on it.
Extreme regulations and whatnot.
Have you guys ever seen the hitchhike? Have ever
Hold on,
read
Bino.
the hitchhike?
So the big thing is you can do a lot in Super Earth, right? But you have to jump through hoops to do it, and that's the big thing.
Yeah. Yeah, and Bino is bringing up a good point. He's bringing up Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and all the things they had to fill out. So keep going, Bino.
In the Hitchhiker's Guide of the Galaxy, they do that a lot, and they have like a race that's just like the bureaucrat race, and it's a whole joke about governments and DMVs and like the bureaucracy and like how it all becomes like a monster that eats itself, because like even when it wants to do something, it kind of like it has its own bureaucracy that holds itself back, right? And I think that, and I remember that after that one came out, it popularized a little bit these kinds of jokes. I'm not even sure if the Warhammer like bureaucracy thing didn't start because of that also, but like the jokes, but like I maybe like since they are European devs and like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is more popular in Europe because I think it was a British guy that wrote it. It might be also a veiled reference to that, like a very an Easter egg like or something. No?
An allusion to a similar theme, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the idea that there's that level of paperwork that you have to do in Super Earth society, yes.
Yep, it's very.
But it's treated as correct, and the good way to conduct oneself is to go through the process.
Yep, the process. It proves virtue. It proves legality. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the big thing is that it's a hybridization of European stuff, because in the opening intro you see American suburbia, which is weird because it's so European in terms of how it functions, but visually it has an American flair with like everyone has a nice plot of grass in a yard, which Europeans don't really understand the concept of, at least city dwellers, because they're like, what, you just live in an apartment, you don't own any land.
You don't own AC. AC is the devil.
AC is the devil. And I noticed that all Super buildings have AC units attached to them.
Yeah, I still remember like, wait, why is AC bad? Because it kills penguins. Ah, I see.
It doesn't kill penguins, but
that's what they told me.
There was a refrigerant that was detrimental to the atmosphere.
That's what they always say.
Wrong, says Baphios.
Baphios, what do you want, you little fanboy? He's like, well, I'm not a fanboy.
Baphios, you can't say it. Have
he just pops in Poland.
Have you told you guys when Baphios and Carlos almost had a heart attack talking to me about houses? Because they're like, what do you mean you already have
Let's get back on subject. So the big thing is that we've talked about Super Earth as a government and the rabbit hole that this is. We now have basically more or less determined through the actual storytelling of the game that Super Earth is not a fascist state. It is not a communist state. It is not really a socialist state either, but it is an authoritarian state, regardless. It is some evolution of democracy where it becomes more regulated in the case of like the European Union. So it's still not a place I'd want to live, but it's not as bad as it could be. We've also determined that Super Earth isn't demonstrably evil based on their actions as well.
Yeah, likely not even close.
Yeah, and they actually go out of the way to save civilians. They send up to 4 super destroyers to extract civilians who are trapped in a building.
30 civilians.
Yeah, 30. And if you're playing on easy, it's like 5.
But the thing is, like, we shouldn't even be like humoring these people that say like Super
Well, no,
Earth
it's not
is
about
like
it's not about humoring. It's about proving.
no, but
Yeah.
they're wrong. But
Yes,
the issue.
but you need to prove it. And so
I
this is
know
why
it's
we're doing this, because we are
Mhm.
demonstrating the fact as to why Super Earth is not demonstrably evil. This is important to do because you need to win people over. Otherwise, if you just say it is because it is and then you fold your arms, you look like an idiot.
No, no. I thought I realized just now is that every time I see someone calling Super Earth like communist, right? The same person's like, Super Earth is evil, and then people go like, no, Super Earth isn't evil, because and they give the facts, right? And they're like, actually, yeah, but Super Earth is communist then, because they just
Oh.
want to make people us mad. I don't know.
Chat
if
raises a
you
good
know.
point. It's not just 4 super destroyers. It's 4 super destroyers with 20 Helldivers. And I want to point out that the Helldivers' average kill to death ratio is 80-1. That's pretty goddamn good. They are special forces. We are not grunts when we play as a Helldiver. You're not a grunt. You are an elite fucking soldier with an elite arsenal.
So I do have one thing to say about this, and it's that, as you can see, this conversation didn't proceed after this point, with my final response, because it leads to a singular conclusion, and I don't think Palstadt is willing to say it, because he would have to admit that Super Earth in HD1, I want to say in HD2, has not done anything evil.
Yep. It undermines his
And-
point, and that's why he refuses to acknowledge it. But he's also taking the path of least resistance. He humored you, then realized your intellect, and then was like, oh shit. Oh shit. And you can see he backed off quickly. But the big thing is that I don't think Pyostrat's evil either. I know people are jumping up and down screaming, he's evil! He's not evil. He has a very distinct vision for what he thought Super Earth was, and to a degree, there's evidence to suggest that Super Earth did exist in Helldivers 1, but the issue is, and the point of this conversation, is that evidence is not present in Helldivers 2. Super Earth is not evil anymore. Super Earth has changed. They have become good through time and through peace.
So all these bug posters and all these bot people are only ever pulling their examples from HD1 and not HD2.
Yep, which is a century ago. It's literally citing World War I as like an issue now. And it's like, the Kaiser really should stop fucking saber rattling. It's like, who? What?
So with Pilestat, in his mind, the setting and stuff, it's the Super Earth and whatnot is still this exact same as it was in Helldivers 1, which it clearly isn't based on the game at all.
I think it's actually cooler that Super Earth has grown, because narrative progression is far more interesting than narrative stagnation.
There's another thing though, like, most people would attack like alien races, especially if they couldn't communicate with them and they were so alien as to the point where like they were based like.
Well, we already kind of know how the first contact went down with a couple cases, so we already know that the automatons or the cyborgs in the first war kind of went off to be a little secluded, but were part of Super Earth. But then there was a terrorist attack by the automatons or the cyborgs, which could have been a false flag operation theoretically.
Yeah.
Like if we were playing devil's advocate, it could have been possibly. But the issue is that regardless of that, the automatons have become demonstrably worse in Helldivers 2. And in the case of the Illuminate, it was very much a case of they have weapons of mass destruction that could possibly hurt us, and Super Earth did a preemptive strike scenario. The preemptive strike was proven to be correct because in Helldivers 2, they actually do have weapons of mass destruction and do demonstrably evil acts. And when it comes to, they're going to subvert us, that's proven again to be correct. And 2, because, they do subvert.
Like the only faction that you can see potentially like really went more evil from the actions of Super Earth in the first one is the automatons, because while they were still grotesque, they, besides that one supposed terrorist attack, which we don't know like if it actually did happen, like with false flag, we have no idea. They hadn't done anything overly aggressive besides more or less defending themselves from acts of intrusions by Super Earth. They're probably the only one that was, now they're back and they're like, we're just gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah, but they started using people as biofuel.
Yeah, hold
right?
on. That's later. He's
That's
playing.
his
He's
second
playing
game.
devil's advocate, which is fair. Because again, the thing is, you got to remember, Johann Pilestadt, I think is his full name, but he has actually laid the groundwork for the stuff, and he did do it. And there's a reason why he thinks the way he thinks. He's not just doing it because of no reason. He's a human being. He's just like us, Come on. Come on.
He's European.
Yeah, whatever. He's a Swede. But either way, the big thing is that he's laid the groundwork there. And as a fellow writer and creator, I can see that. But the issue is that as time went on, he wanted the players to be more involved with the game, which is actually a really cool choice. But it's actually opened a new narrative possibility that I don't think he's really opened his mind to yet. And that's the possibility that Super Earth is actually changing. And it's changing because its actions are changing. And that's incredibly beautiful and emergent. That's cool.
It is. But it's also funny how he's not seeming to comprehend that, given that
Well, I
in the
can see
anniversary of the game,
why,
they released videos and content for the anniversary of the Helldivers release, indicating how proud and they are of the community and the choices they've made, and when they chose to save, they went to the children's hospital, they did not expect that, and they were that they would do so much good, and then but then he immediately is, oh, they're evil. It's
well, remember, they didn't expect that, but it's something that's going to take a while to get used to, right? We got to be patient, because remember, he's actually making the game, right? He's actually working on the ground floor with the boys, so to speak. And because he does that, it's easy for developers to become disconnected with their players. Now, Pilestadt, to his credit, is actually one developer I actually very much admire, because he seems to have a willingness to listen, though he's a bit slow to come around to some ideas, which is fair. But the big thing is that he is listening. He may not necessarily agree with us, and that's okay, but I hope that he might see our point and our rationale as to why we've come to the conclusions we have. Because, again, all the evidence presented to us show us that Super Earth is not demonstrably evil. Are they authoritarian? Yes. Would I want to live there? No. Do I think that everything Super Earth has done is brilliant? No. But at the same time, the fact that we can choose our Super Earth, we can choose through our actions and how we play the game with the GM Joel on how the war happens and what we fight over and what we sacrifice. That is incredibly cool, because no game has really done that before. And I hope that the developer realizes that this is an opportunity to let the players have a little bit of more say on the Super Earth that they're fighting for. Because in the reality, we are Super Earth. The players are.
I think another thing is that I really dislike is the conversation of Chaos Divers being shoved into the fan canon bullshit.
What's Chaos?
They're not acknowledged as actual canon, but thankfully. Okay, so a quick brief.
Would not let them exist.
There are different splinter groups in the community that call themselves the Knights of Derp. I don't remember. That's the Illuminate ones. And then there's Chaos Divers, which are like the automaton divers. These particular divers, they're basically people who are like, oh yeah, I'm sabotaging Super from the inside by fighting for them and achieving their objectives. And it's like, what? Like, that doesn't quite make sense. It's also one of those things where they also try to take credit for the entire community's actions, which, if the developers actually acknowledge that, I would have serious problems, because the issue is that when I saved the children's hospital, I did it for Super Earth and I did it for the children, right? I didn't do it because I'm a fucking Chaos Diver, and I don't want my achievements and my accomplishments of my community made to be hijacked by some other group. Because basically it's just a little group that LARP says, like, you know, fucking they're not either wacky, they're subordinate. They're subordinate, but they do the missions and objectives anyways, you know, whatever.
they ride the short Super Destroyer.
Because there's three cliques. There's those guys, then there's the Illuminate dudes who are less popular. Then there's they're smaller, and the only reason why the Chaos Divers even had any actual stay, I'm probably even talking about it because it's kind of irrelevant. But the only reason they had any stay and had any traction, and they're kind of not relevant anymore, is yeah, exactly. But the big thing is that it was because they kept making mistakes with the game early on in launch, but then that's when Pilestat stepped down and then went and fixed the pipeline. When he fixed the pipeline, then the Chaos Divers lost all momentum and faded into obscurity.
Yeah,
wasn't
the reason.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wasn't the Chaos Divers that one group that appeared like for 5 minutes and said
They
that,
appeared
"Oh,
for
yes,
a little bit. PC Gamer loves to
Yeah.
run the idea that they're somehow relevant, but they're not. The vast majority of divers don't even know they exist or care.
They don't exist outside of Twitter, yeah.
I think that my issue with the Chaos Divers is that they're being mentioned as if they are a legitimate thing, not like as an in canon, but like how the community like respects them, or some stupid thing to explain why good things happen within a fascist authoritarian government that's evil.
Despite the fact that they're not fascist and they're not evil, they are authoritarian.
They might be
So-
they might be just botting though.
Well,
Anyways,
it's a
the
narrative.
big thing is, is that I don't like it when the people are there directly to subvert the idea that Super Earth is actually a force of good in the galaxy, by taking away all of its accomplishments and saying that no, this was done because of this small group, rather than the community as a whole contributing to it.
It's basically okay. Let's explain this real quickly. So you have World War II, millions of people are on the front line, right? And there's 5 German dudes who decided to stand and fight in one area, right? And it's like, and they're like, I'm the reason why Germany lost because it was me. It's like, no, like, it really wasn't. Germany was always going to lose. It was a matter of not if, it was a matter of when and how. It was a matter of, because like logistics and everything. In this particular case, it's the inverse, right? It's like, I joined the Allies to do the good deed, because this is a more apt thing. It's like, Cuba, I joined the Allies. I'm the reason. No, you're not. No, you're not. Or Turkey declaring war on Germany at the last second, in World War II. Like, no.
After Hitler died, like
after the war was over,
the US flag, yeah.
Basically, pretty much. The reason why they do that is purely for political reasons. Like, the big thing here with the problem with the Chaos Divers, as in essence, is that they are, if they were ever acknowledged officially by Arrowhead, that would demonstrably destroy the community, because what that basically does is that would be like, hey, it's the kid on the corner who's like, I did it, and like, I did the achievement. Meanwhile, the kid that raked the yards was actually the kid who did it, and he did it for free, and the other guy gets some money for it.
Point. The whole Chaos Diver thing started as people to protest how evil Super Earth would be. They join games and actively try to sabotage and kill the other players.
They're also trolls, yeah.
That was their entire shtick.
They're basically, and then they go and cry why they can't give them games because they get kicked out. Yeah. So the big thing about Chaos Divers is that they're bad because they try to claim credit for things. Play style wise, they team kill. Like we team kill when we play with the Bucket Company, right? But what do we
accomplish the mission?
We accomplish the mission, and we do it as a joke, and it's normally 9 times out of 10 consensual. And I say 9 times out of 10 because they're Spider Pig. Because they're Spider Pig. Who calls in an artillery striker 380 right on top of our goddamn heads.
People like Spider Pig are the reason people think the Helldivers like don't get any training or anything. Just like grab random people.
I don't think Spider Pig completed training.
I don't think he did.
Oh I played with Spider Pig and someone else, I forgot, that was drunk one day. It was one of the worst moments in my Helldiver
I'm gonna
history.
guess Genghis, because they're usually
I think Genghis was heavily drunk. Like, I think they were like all the deaths were accidental.
I'll give those two this. It's never dull.
No, it's
never
funny.
dull
it's
playing
funny.
with them.
They're removing a corpse in front of my house. That's why there was that noise.
The fuck, Bino? Keep it on topic.
There was a dead horse.
Keep it on topic. You're doing bad things on my stream again.
No.
So the more important thing here is that we've talked about Super Earth is not demonstrably evil. They're just simply not. Through their actions speak louder than words, because actions determine everything here. And yeah, that's kind of basically it. I just kind of hope that Palstet sort of comes around to this concept, because the reality here is that the players very much we the players are very much at odds with his view on this. But again, he's not calling you, the audience, or us fascists or Nazis, because we're not. And
Didn't he say the opposite?
yeah, no, he didn't. He didn't. He said that
Yeah.
we're smart enough to separate and make a distinction between the
Yeah.
two, and we are. And he's never gone out of the way to basically attack his players. That's what grifters are doing. It's just PC Gamer's kind of a shitty fucking rag and took him out of context with a
He's
lot of things.
specifically just talking about Super Earth.
Yes.
Like, not about Helldivers or...
He didn't call you evil. He doesn't hate you. He just has a disagreement. But because there's this disagreement, people want to take it out of context. People want to warp and twist what it said to make it something it's not. It's to serve a narrative to get clicks.
I would have not had an issue if he had not stated that the game makes people more resilient to propaganda manipulation.
I think
You know,
was
that's
just
actually
him, like,
accurate. I think when it comes to propaganda, because the game is satirical. He is right. The game still has satire in it. Period. That's not even up for debate. The game has a lot of jokes and quips, and they're funny as fuck. My favorite thing to do sometimes is chilling while Wet Chatfish are there and look at the Super TV thing to watch the propaganda. But
I just want to point out that saying that people become more resilient to propaganda because they played this video game is the equivalent to saying people are more likely to carjack because they played Grand Theft Auto.
yes, it's an old, out-of-date thinking. The issue is that because in the 2000s, there was the hyper-right Christian thing that we had to deal with, where it was like, oh my god, video games are going to make you a school shooter. Video games are going to make you really good at murdering people. Video games are going to make you a Satanist. Video games are going to make you rape people and do drugs. And that's not the case. Bad people will do bad things regardless. Video games have no part to play in that. And so when you put your game in the line of fire, the big mistake Pilestedt made here is he put his game in the line of fire, and that was a bad move in my opinion. Because it's what all you're doing is you're painting a target on yourself, and you didn't do anything wrong. And but the one thing you did do wrong is you painted a target on yourself. So don't put your game in the line of fire, because the game has nothing to do with that. The game isn't going to make you a fascist. The game isn't going to make you a bad person. If anything, the game's going to make you learn how to maybe teamwork better.
Yeah, teamwork. I don't think it makes you more resilient to propaganda.
No, propaganda is incredibly effective. Like, true propaganda will work. The issue is you'll never be really resilient to propaganda because no one is immune to it psychologically.
I think the opposite has taken place. I think that Pilestedt has created a game that people like, and then the stack that people like, and makes them more sympathetic to Super Earth, and what it's fighting for. Same way that Verhoeven fucked up.
Yep, because Paul Verhoeven tried to... Okay, so Paul Verhoeven, a real quick story for people who aren't familiar with this. Paul Verhoeven wanted to make a movie about Starship Troopers. However, he lacked the patience because he's a bit autistic, and basically handed the book off to someone else to basically read for him and write the cliff notes so he could make the movie on. And that's why the movie is so... No, don't interrupt me. The movie is so demonstrably inaccurate to the book, like laughably so. But despite it being horrifically inaccurate to the book, like massively so, the movie doesn't really depict the Federation as particularly fascist. It is a very sort of authoritarian, what do you call it, militocracy? What's the military word? Because it is a military-ocracy thing, whatever the word is, I can't remember. But it's not a fascist state, and it's one of those things where you have the ability to become a soldier or not. This comes to the fact that the vast majority of people in our time, unfortunately, lack proper education on political ideologies, especially from the early, 19th century, where we talk about, like, okay, or not 19th, the early 20th century. I was fucking up that fucking thing. But
Junta.
we don't really understand. Yeah, it's more like a junta. It's more closer to that. But we don't understand what fascism is. Fascism as an ideology died very young as an ideology. It perished. The longest fascist state that ran was Spain. And there were only two fascist states that were in existence, Italy and Spain. Nazi Germany is often conflated with being fascistic, even though they're more like an extreme, they're like a sort of a, like, bit communist, bit socialist, bit fascist, but not really. Like, it's its own entity. The idea is that worship of the state, right? Because communists, they worship the state too, but they blame classes as the problem. The Nazis blamed race as the problem. Everybody needs a scapegoat, and that's like, I know we're talking about weird ideology things, but that was the entire crux of their thing, right? Both worship the state. The individual isn't valuable. That's why these states are awful, terrible countries to live in, and that's why, thank God, they're gone. Because individuals and individuals should be, actually looked after.
I was going to mention, if he wanted to make a Smurf look like bad, what he would probably need to do, instead of having a defensive war, he need to do like in Helldivers 3, for example, like 200 years in the future, instead of like Super Earth doing a defensive war, they're exploring like new galaxies and stuff like that. And when they meet like quote unquote new races that were neutral, they preemptively attack and they start doing the war crimes, right? If they wanted to make like Super Earth evil, but that's just what I thought about.
Or just actually show it with the way Super Earth treats its citizens, instead of just what we have.
But the thing is, like, they like we were talking, like they treat the citizens kind of good for like what's supposed to be on a bad North Korean state or something like that. You know what I mean?
Well, we don't 100% know because we haven't actually seen. But what we have seen is we have seen Super Earth cities, or at least those little city areas, and we do see like houses, we do see like air conditioning units, we do see, like grass, we see little hedge bushes, well trimmed and well kept, we see roads, we see infrastructure, all things you want to see.
I would say probably living as a citizen in Super Earth is probably fine, like quality of life, but you probably have almost no like freedom from surveillance and whatnot. Like everything you do is more or less known.
Kind of like Europe.
Kinda, yeah.
But yeah, so now that we've talked briefly about ideologies, and only on the tip of the iceberg stuff, because technically this is a much bigger subject that could take thousands of streams and entire channels have dedicated themselves to trying to explore these concepts. We're not going to do that because I don't care. I only care in the case of like what Super Earth is and what it isn't. And we've already demonstrated that it is not those things. So, excuse me. Moving on. The big thing.
Before we.
What is it? Why you gotta interrupt me? Why you gotta interrupt me?
I was gonna say we've got donos that have gone on. We haven't acknowledged in a
Oh,
while.
fine.
A while. I'd rather not them.
I'll let it slide this time, you slut. Now read them.
Chat's giving you money.
God forbid that happens. God forbid. Chat.
Reverend Norse a while ago for good donate to 100 sec. Can't watch stream, so I'll catch the VOD later. Keep up being awesome, Kibs and gang. Helldivers 2 dev and UN is full of bullshit. Looking forward to hear you ripping it all apart. Humanity first and always.
Thank you for the donation,
my dude.
And to answer, hold on, let me answer these, because sometimes people that read them just like, let's read the next one without me answering. It's not necessarily about ripping the dev apart or ripping. Well, the UN in this case, the UN is just using this because it's popular and they want to stay relevant. I think it's a blatant mistake for Pilesjet to go on the UN. I think that was a dumb move, and that's not really up for debate or discussion because it's irrefutably stupid. All it did was cause a drama and made opportunities and avenues to attack him and his product, which was a foolish move to do. It was the wrong move to do. It threw his team under the bus by doing it. It's just not a good move. Shouldn't have done that. But I can understand why somebody would do that, right? Because remember, it's also important, chat, to remember that everyone's human. Put yourselves in their shoes for just but a brief moment. Pilesjet just made one of the best fucking goddamn games ever made, right? He's got a reason to be proud of himself. He's got a reason to be happy. He's also got a reason to want to talk about his game. The idea of, imagine from a fairly casual, or maybe, I imagine he's a lot more of a normie kind of guy, but imagine from his perspective, right? Like, oh, the UN has invited me to talk about my game. Holy shit, that's amazing. Some official organization is going to be talking about my game? That's incredible. That's actually incredible. That's actually huge. There are very few games in history that have actually achieved that level, by the way. This is historic. So, understand the excitement that can be blind one to basically accepting to do that, right? I don't even necessarily blame him there, because in his shoes, if I had the same excitement, dude, I'd be ecstatic. I'd want to talk about my game all day long too. But it was kind of the wrong move, because they weren't there to really talk about the benefits and values of his game. They were there to try to use him as a tool. And that was disgusting and abhorrent for them to do that. Because Pilotchat's not somebody to be used as a tool. He's a person. And he made a really cool game. He shouldn't be walked all over like that. And the PC gamer stuff, they're using that reg. Again, if you asked me when I was a little kid, back when I used to buy PC Gamer Mag with my dad at Barnes & Noble and the PlayStation and Nintendo Power Mags, like, oh my god, dude, they're gonna write about my game? I'd be so excited. But knowing now what I know now about these journalists and these magazine companies and how much they despise both players and are disconnected from the gaming community as a whole, I would never have agreed to do that. Because that's just foolish, because it's a trap. They're not there to help you. They're there to use you. You're a stepping stone. And you got to make sure, and Pilotchat needs to, hopefully he'll learn this, but he needs to use them. Not the other way around. They serve him, he does not serve them. Because if you let them walk all over you and use you, they'll do what they just did here, where they used him. And it's kind of sad. But you got to learn through experience, you know.
I just want to point out, it has been well known for many years now that PC Gamer and other game news outlets like that are just basically grifters and rage bait with clickbait titles. Like, they're not trustworthy.
They
at
are
all.
part of the grifting problem.
And they release this article, and everyone immediately jumps aboard and thinks that they immediately trust it blindly. What's said?
Yes, that's ironic. You know, speaking of propaganda and propaganda working, that's an interesting study, because in this particular case, he went to go talk about propaganda and how he thought his players were smart, right? And his players were smart because nobody really bought onto it. Like, there is no backlash for what he did here, for the most part. And honestly, there really shouldn't be. It's kind of a nothing burger. There's a point of contention that Artemis and I think everyone here has with Pilotchat, but it's like a disagreement. It's like, I don't agree. None of us agree with his view of Super Earth. I think the greater whole of the community is more or less on the same page as us, based on many people I've talked to. But I do know that there is a sizable portion of people that also disagree with this. So it's obvious that this is a discussion that's probably going to be had again, because the community isn't 100% on one way or the other. It's just one of those things where there's a schism, and now it's time to figure out which side of the schism people are on, and try to figure out what's common ground and try to bridge that schism back together, right? And the big thing is that Pilotchat needs to be aware of is that schism could be dangerous for the community, because it could harm player unity. It's important that a compromise is reached, you know. Maybe Super Earth does some occasional war crimes here and there, you know, but at the same time, they also do good things. A bit of what we call moral gray. But the big problem is in the game, it's very hard to achieve this because of the whole game setup. You have factions that are just evil fighting a faction that's kind of like, I would want to live there, but if I had to live there, I would be ready and willing to defend myself. And that's it. That's kind of it. Now, what's the next super?
Next super is from Terratine for 50 knock. Kibbs, have you seen the trailer for System Shock 2 by the same people who remade System Shock 1?
I have, only briefly. So, because we're bringing it up on stream, it is a thing to talk about. Yes, it's from Night's Dive Studios. They are making a System Shock 2 game. Or, well, a anniversary edition, which I have in my Steam cart. So you'd already know that I'm going to buy it, chat. Spoilers. All right, so yes, they're making another system. Well, they're making another remaster, but this one's just like a slight poly touch-up. Like, it's basically like turning the game into quasi-PS2 graphics. And it looks pretty good. It's like sort of like the Half-Life touch-up. Ooh, it's a little bit better stylistically and texture-wise. I'm very much looking forward to it because I really like System Shock. It's another immersive sim game, but this game scares me, and I can't beat it. Every time I get to that one level where you gotta like traverse through like the I forget those quarter rooms or whatever, I get too scared.
It looks a bit less pixely than the first game.
because I
The
thought
first
it was
game
going.
remake, that is.
It's like an uplifting of the game. It more looks like Xbox original graphics, kinda.
It looks good. It looks stylized. I like it.
Yep, stylization is key. Helldivers does it. A lot of games do it. When you stylize your game is going to age a lot better than if you go for photorealism, as we know.
Helldivers graphics. Did they add something when you use the stings? Because sometimes I use the sting and my Helldivers go like a little, like they are high, the colors change on the screen. I don't know if it's just me, or it becomes purple. I noticed.
I've not had issues like that.
I'm not sure if it's like one of the. Never mind.
Next donation though was from Shadow Fox for donates €20. Sorry, Kibbles, had to hit the shower. Didn't see if you saw my last chat. We did see your milestone, and thank you for the very long-term support.
Yep, very much appreciate it.
And then Sharon has been a member for 25 months as a software miner.
Wow, thank you for the long-term support, Chair Bear. Appreciate it. Couldn't be here without you guys. Remember, chat, it's your donations and your support is the reason why we are here, and we will remain to be here. You choose the content you want, chat. You choose whether I live or die. Look, oh my.
I choose kids who's gonna play Prey.
Damn.
I like that Kibbs
Now-
also in that way. I feel better when I don't play carry games.
To get
Wow.
back to Helldivers though,
Mm-hmm.
because you mentioned how there was not been really any big backlash for this. Oh, another donor just came in.
Go ahead.
Guaranteed donates 50 knock. Maybe we'll get a continue of the story after we finish with the second one.
Which story? Which game? Oh,
System
System
Shock.
Shock. Yeah, I hope so. Honestly, I would love to see Night Dive not only like, oh my god, Star Trek Elite Force 1 and 2. I will pay you, Night Dive. Like, there are so many first-person shooter classics that they've been enhancing and uplifting. Night Dive Studio's done a great job. The director of the studio had a little bit of a spurg out with the whole TDS stuff and getting political for a little bit, but it seems like he's calmed down, which is good because he's done great work for the gaming industry. And it's just important to remember that games come first, politics are secondary. No, sorry, I'm retarded. Politics have no place in gaming.
I think
Real
it's
life
fun that
politics.
Yes.
I think it's fun that people go like
No
Helldivers
contemporary.
is propaganda, like, and then they go like and fall for any like thing
They fall for a
read in
PC Gamer article.
Yeah, like, these guys
PC
didn't
Gamer.
fall for PC Gamer. Like they just wanted a reason. To
I
pick
have-
the game. Like,
Oh my
Yeah.
god, I remember. Oh, I have so many good PC Gamer magazines back when I used to like really think they were cool. Now I'm. I don't know how I feel about those, but either way. Okay.
But to get back on the Helldivers and the mentioned how there wasn't really any pushback, there has been, and I admittedly fell for this as well because I saw people posting, "Oh, look at all the negative reviews coming in about this. They were going to review bomb the game with this." Turns out that's blown out of proportion. After going through many negative reviews and looking through that, well, we've been here. Almost no one in the community gives a shit.
mhm.
Like, there's a single discussion about it on Steam. Almost, like, there's like a handful of negative reviews that don't even show up on the main page. And almost all the negative reviews aren't talking about this whole thing, which is blown out of proportion. It's mostly about bugs with the latest update or whatnot.
What?
Like,
Negative
no one
review
gives a
of playing
shit.
Helldivers.
No, yeah, get a review about the actual game. No one actually gives a shit. It's just people are blowing it out of proportion to make you think that this is a huge deal that the community like is really upset about. The community doesn't care. The game's fun, and they're going to keep playing the game.
Yep.
So
So
this was just a
the big thing I've
grift
also
by
noticed. Well, yeah,
PC
it's,
Gamer and other people.
it's a grift by PC Gamer. The thing is, the one thing I think Pashat needs to remember, and I hope he learns, because he needs to think defensively for himself and his team, is that there are people that want to take advantage of him in every possible avenue. There are people that want to take advantage of his success as well as his failure. I know people that are eagerly hoping that he fails, and that's sad, but there are also people eagerly hoping that he's, gonna mess up there, and PC Gamer wants him to say this because that'll benefit their argument for their long war against players that they've been waging. And that's just like, don't get involved, don't get muddled down in these silly little things. Don't let them consume you. Focus on your craft and your art. Because Pilestred has proven himself time and time again throughout the game's history of development to be incredibly receptive, incredibly intelligent, and a good game developer as a whole. Period. There's no real discussion. He knows what he's doing. The guy's doing a great job. So he just needs to make sure he doesn't let these other people distract him and waste his time.
When people were complaining about, like, way back when Helldivers first launched and they fucked up the balancing for a while, right? People were complaining about one of the devs that were like shit talking people on Reddit, and he was shit talking people. That one dev was, it was Pilestred or whatever his name is, that like he basically like rained him down and made him apologize to the community.
Pilestred has been our guy for the gamers
Hashtag
forever.
our guy.
He's hashtag our guy, and he has been, and he still is, because he has actively gone out of his way to maintain the game's overall visual flow, right? When people asked about adding like LGBTQ capes or whatever, he's like, no, that doesn't really fit the aesthetic. And he's right. It doesn't fit the aesthetic. It doesn't really belong in there. It shouldn't be about that kind of stuff because this game isn't really about that, is it? It's about a war against horrific monsters, you know? And if people want to mod their games to mod that in, by all means. They don't punish you for modding like certain things like that. Visual mods are fine.
Yeah, graphical mods they don't mind at all, it seems.
Yeah, and that's
Looks
cool.
okay now.
That's really cool because they're open-minded to that. So if you want to mod your game and have that kind of stuff, you can. But in the official game, they're not going to put it in there because it doesn't really have a place in there. They're going to focus on making content that fits the aesthetic. And they've doubled down on this so much so that I'm very, very happy with. Because Pilestred, he likes consistency, and I appreciate that. Because he has mentioned himself that they're not going to put Space Marines in the game if they do a crossover with Warhammer. But if they do a crossover with Warhammer, they'll put something in that fits, right? Like maybe the Elysian Guard or something like that. Or something cool. Or maybe like the Steel Legion.
Oh.
But like that could be cool to fit in there because it fits aesthetically and it matches thematically, right? Like if they did a crossover with Halo, it shouldn't be Master Chief, but it could be the ODSTs because they fit aesthetically.
The ODSTs are literally inspiration for the game.
I mean, hell, there's even a reference in the game's files towards Halo itself because the developers are very much inspired by Halo.
Yeah.
You know what's kind of funny? This whole mess was more caused by like the grifters and the legacy media that they tell their people we hate the legacy media, but when they don't hate because like it's basically a parasitic relationship, right? Where they are always like,
well, rage bait and outrage culture needs to be mad about something, and so you don't serve a purpose, inside beyond being like you need to be angry. Everything must suck, and so that's rage bait culture. And that's grifters. They're only going to be mad about the game. They're only going to be mad about things, only doing negative, attack, make drama video, right? That's their goal. PC Gamer, flip side of the coin, is going to be about narrative spinning. Attack product that isn't aligned, boost product that is aligned to ideology. And so it's not about games. Neither of these sides care about games or the quality of the games we play. They don't care about us, and they don't care about the quality of the games. They have no place in the gaming industry. They have no place talking and making videos about stuff we care about because they're not here to try to critique and improve things. They're here to get you upset. They're here to make you cancel something because guess what? They don't like the thing you like, and therefore you must hate that thing too. This is the difficult thing, and they that's what they're trying to do. And by doing that, by the way, they forfeit that piece of media. They lose their vocality. This is why it's incredibly important if you like something and if you truly love something to stay invested and keep fighting for that thing you love, right? I've been around in the industry and played games from a lot of companies, and I've learned a lot over my tenure playing games, right? And the big thing I've learned is that in order to do the right thing, you need to care. You need to stay vocal. Because the minute you stop being vocal is the minute you lose all power in that media. Because if you do, I want Helldivers 2 to succeed because I love Helldivers 2. I think it's a great game. Hell, I think what's funny is, about the review things, 37 people on my friends list don't recommend this game, but 63 do. Most of these friend reviews I have, because the game made one misstep, negatively reviewed it and will never try it again, ever. That's just how people are. Or some of them have, and they're actually playing it right now because that's funny. But they won't fix the review. Yep, they won't fix the review because they're not going to, right? And that's okay. You don't have to fix it. But, it's one of those things where it's like, when you invest a certain amount of time in something, you should stay active and vocal about what you like and what you don't like, right? Like when we talked about our differences with Pilestet's views on Super Earth's governance and what Super Earth is in terms of, its morality, we disagree with him. I think Super Earth is a good nation, yes, but it is a flawed nation. And what nation isn't flawed, right? What nation isn't, right? Big thinkies. Chat's like, whoa. Oh my god, chat. You little nerds.
Billy Donuts has been a member for 17 months. It says Helldivers theory goals, Sundowner's dream come true.
Red sun over paradise. I don't know why I remember that.
Isn't that from Cyberpunk?
No, that's Metal Gear Revenge.
Metal Gear? Yeah. It was one of the two.
I've never really played that game, but I have all the songs.
Oh, quick announcement for people who were having graphical and other issues performance-wise in game, because I was as well. With the latest patch, check if anti-aliasing is turned on, because that's the blurriness and performance issues. I turned it off and it fixed almost all the problems I was having.
But yeah, before I think
is the culprit.
I think we've also talked about pretty much everything in Helldivers 2. Did we miss anything I wanted to talk about? We managed to do it pretty concisely within an hour. You don't count. No kidding.
One quick thing.
But hold on, let's see if we missed anything. Then your quick thing.
Mm-hmm.
We get it? We get everything? I think
I got through everything I wanted to say.
Yeah, because I got through everything.
I don't have anything to add.
Yeah. All right, Bino, go ahead.
Really quick. I think a lot of these controversies are because people want people to talk about bad things about the game instead of talk about things that would be good for the game. I want, and I will always want, weapon customization. I would like it a lot.
You're talking about features to implement. Oh my god, we could talk about that all day long.
Yes, there's so much that I just want
clan stations,
everything from the first game. A
stratagem upgrade system, helmets having unique abilities, fucking weapon customization, ship customizations, maybe ship varieties with different abilities from different ships or something.
Difficult customization, you can make I can take a difficult 11 mission and can turn it into difficult 20 if me and my friends want to play.
All I want to see really that shouldn't be too difficult to implement. A loadout system, like in the first game.
Yep, savable loadouts. Yep.
And personally, I would like a way to change, even if it's just a cosmetic customization thing, to change how your armor looks, because
armor painter, yeah,
something like that. Just because also a lot of the times it's I would like this perk, but I hate the way the armor looks. But that'd be probably more of an involved thing for them to change. But just give us loadouts, please.
Loadouts would be great.
That would be good.
Loadouts in the clan station, so we can actually have our own clans. Because the group community station thing is nice, but as somebody who has a community, we don't really engage with that because we're often doing our own objectives. Yeah.
Because I didn't even know it existed.
Oh, it does. I always donate
for it and put stuff towards it.
Yeah,
I forget it exists all the time because it's something only really the person whose ship you're on even looks at, because you have to interact with the map terminal, and if you're not the host.
Yep,
it's not really anything.
I just donate my resources to it, and then that way it helps the Helldivers wherever they are, because helping them out. But the big thing is that I would like our own clan station so that we can move our own stations around and conduct bucket operations, so we can do our own things. That'd be cool.
Bucket strike.
Yeah. So the bucket can focus on certain things. Well, yeah, the community can
just help pod do a bucket.
I'd rather just have a SES Fortunate Son.
Oh, you're talking about like give us a super carrier, and that's what our.
Mhm.
You know what would
My
be cooler
most
than a
wanted
clan
thing in
station
Helldivers
is a
2
clan
different ship
carrier.
types.
A clan carrier would be epic. Super carrier. I could see it now, Bucky. It launches little fucking eagles off of the fucking thing, just screaming down to the planet.
Another thing that would be kind of like quote unquote pointless, but it would be kind of cool, is I don't know if you guys ever played Warframe. You can customize your ship, like you can like I'm going to put like things in my ship, like eagle sweat posters or like
I don't know
super
how much
flags and
that would
stuff
work.
like that.
So anyways, because technically, yes, well, technically it's not your ship actually.
It's Super Earth ship, but yeah.
Yeah,
It's
but
Super
you
Earth
get
ship,
what I
and
mean.
it's the
Democracy officer.
democracy of ship. Like yeah, you get to pick, but it's like yeah, but also the ship is filled with frozen
You get to pick
Helldivers
because
replace
it's
you when
your
you die.
life. You get to choose where you're going to fight and possibly die, which is incredibly. It's
Respectful.
yeah, no, it's incredibly interesting because like, all right, you are a Helldiver. You're one of our elite troopers. Your chances of survival are not very high. You're probably gonna die, but the democracy officer is actually the captain of the ship. He's actually in command, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because your Helldiver comes from one of those cryogenic pods, and those cryopods, well, they're hell pods as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, well, hell pods. A clam carrier for chatfishes. Well,
I'm very surprised that Helldivers didn't create a whole new genre, like the divers genre, kind of like how Fortnite
Genre.
popularized
Yeah.
genre. Yeah.
oh,
How they
you're talking about like the extraction shooter. Well, I mean,
no,
Helldivers
no,
is
no.
a genre already.
Not even the extraction though, like unironically carbon copies, like yes, you
Okay,
copying the
so
thing,
Bino,
stuff like that.
I can tell you why. This particular game is incredibly complicated. To even emulate this game requires you to put in at least a few, like $100 million. At least. To even do like a shitty knockoff of this game. So you're not going to see a lot of carbon copies in this game, but you are going to see that happen down the road because I guarantee you Halo is looking at this. I guarantee you Gears is looking at any action shooter genre is looking at Helldivers right now and wondering how can we adapt that into our game or our setting. But development takes massive amounts of times. On average, there's a 3-year dev cycle for AAA titles, right? This game came out and has only been out and got those awards last year, right? So that means starting now, a game would have to enter production, and we'd see it in 3 years' time from now. You will see those games down the road.
If Helldivers creates a subgenre of extraction shooter.
More sandboxian, more player choice based. Because the thing is, the extraction shooter was very much dominated by the Left 4 Dead-esque style of gameplay, where move from point A to point B.
Or like Tarkov.
Yep. But let's be real, popularity-wise, Tarkov's not popular. So, Left 4 Dead.
It's not popular.
Left 4 Dead, because Left 4 Dead inspired Vermintide, Darktide. Left 4 Dead is basically the father of the genre in the sense that it popularized it, and it also made it mainstream for a bit. A lot of games came out that were like it. There's an Aliens game that's not that half bad. There's quite a few actually. Pretty much almost anything you can think of. There's a World War Z one as well. It popularized the genre, but it got static because everybody kept making the same game. Vermintide, Darktide are kind of just Left 4 Dead clones. And they have some things that are better and some things that are worse. And that's about it.
Yeah.
Helldivers basically did what we call revolutionize the genre, because what it did is it broke the formula. It was no longer run from one map side to the other map side. It's here's a big bubble, a big area, procedurally generated area using certain generated assets, which is expensive to make, by the way. And you get a bunch of tools and your kit, and you can do whatever you want and tackle objectives in whatever order you want. It's a sandbox approach. It's a better game. It's better game design. Any game that usually lets the player have more choices of how to tackle things, like Advanced Wars is a tactics game. You choose what you build, what you fight with, right? We stream that. Total War, you can choose what kind of army builds you have. whether it's a linear game, you just give the players more tools to choose, and then you create a combat area and let them tackle Baldur's Gate 3 or even Divinity, games I don't really care for, but those games are better games than most games because they give you a sandbox in which you can do whatever you want and tackle the problem in whatever way you want. They are better games mechanically because they put more faith in the player. They trust the player to come up with the ideas. Like, compare that to more like, scripted games like a Call of Duty game. They're fun, the campaigns are fun, but they're really only fun for one playthrough, right? Helldivers, I have 616 hours in this game, and will probably eclipse 1,000 hours before the year's end, obviously. It's got a lot of versatility and reapproachability. Anytime they add more stuff to the sandbox, there's more stuff to do. There are different enemies. There's the Illuminate, the Terminids, and the Automatons. Then you couple that with the fact that there's different stratagems. Then you couple that with you have different weapons and different armor loadouts and different planet biomes, different planet environments like cities and stuff like that. What you start to get, and mission types, is you get a game with so much variety, so much complexity, so much flavor that you can play it again and again and again and still find it refreshing. Then, on top of that, you couple it with the metagame factor of the Galactic War, and now, all of a sudden, your little skirmish thing feels like it's connected to a bigger war that's ongoing. You feel part of something massive. It's cool as fuck. Not many games thought about that. In fact, I think this is like the only one that's really tackled this way. Closest we've ever had is like PlanetSide.
PlanetSide.
Sony needs to give us a third PlanetSide, those little bastards.
No.
No?
I don't want to hear Boog fucking talking about PlanetSide until the end of time.
Oh my god, Boog. I like how I introduced him to PlanetSide, and then it fucking stole our Boog. It stole our Boog. My little Mexican. I lost my Mexican Chatfish. Yeah, that's the one I've seen, Master Huntsman. You can send it to me on Discord, and I'll show it to chat bros.
Yeah, it's pretty that one.
The carrier, the super carrier thing. Did you send it to me? Did you do as you were commanded by me, your master? He's like, my lord.
He literally said he was going to.
You did. You're a good little huntsman.
World of Warcraft was the closest.
Yeah, but I initially sent you the fucking super carrier CGI thing.
You did. This thing is cool. It's still cool to this day.
There's no sound, by the way.
I know, I turned it off.
Why would you turn it off?
I'm hoping that the space game they're making is like this, where you get to play as like fighters and stuff in orbit.
Is it supposed to be a space game? I thought it was just a flight game.
That's probably gonna be space. Why wouldn't you have shit like this? Look at the destroyer and cruisers variants on the right and left there.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
14th Sun.
Yeah, this is the only ship I want in the game to be added, if at the very minimal.
I do want them to add more ships because the idea of that would be so cool. Oh my god. Hell, even if we don't get to fucking be on them, just seeing them in orbit would be awesome.
Yeah. I want to let you know that the one on the bottom right there that looks like the Pegasus from fucking.
Yes, that one right there, right there. It looks like the Pegasus. I actually, so the carrier's cool, but that one would be the one I'd get stuck on.
Only if it has shields.
So fucking cool. Goodbye, ad revenue. Worth it. Helldivers 2 Galactic Conquest. What?
Space RTS.
They made a space
animation?
RTS. I'm gonna have to check that out
Wow.
later. We're just gonna open that in a different tab. It's
fucking
just real quickly. You
Okay,
can
but
tell I like the Super Earth aesthetic.
so like RTSs.
I want to see what a battleship would look like, says Czar. It's just nothing but guns.
Honestly, like Helldivers would be amazing as an RTS. It's got 4 fucking cool factions. It's perfect. Press the button to delete beacon. It's a Star Wars Empire at War parody. That's funny.
How can I help you, Commander?
This is cool. Super
It's got
samples of
Helldivers
resources
1
and
music,
metals.
too. Helldivers 1 also had really good music. They bring that back.
It's using Sins of a Solar Empire voice acting. God help me.
Mm-hmm.
God help.
The ships look
Alright.
nice.
They do.
Now
God
we need a
damn.
Helldivers mod for Sins of a Solar Empire.
I
I'd buy
guess you gotta look at Sins 2. See whether or not it has that.
It doesn't. But if they ever do add a Sins 2 fucking Super Earth or Helldivers fucking mod, you bet your ass we're
Mhm.
playing it.
We need to see the kind of ships the automatons have, Illuminate have, and how the bugs even, travel.
They'd have to make them up. The bugs currently don't have any models. The
it is
automatons
kind of
do have
appear.
models. Okay, now I can make this in the background because now we can. God damn it!
Oh, good. We're about an hour away from when the just terms and conditions for different software was left in for reasons. Or give some membership. He
Hey,
sees an
fair enough.
opportunity to make sandwich win, I'm guessing.
Look, Kip, social media and brand content. These guys really did their job.
You know what's funny? I just saw a video of I'm going to post it over here, so that you can show how easy, how good the combat is in that game.
I don't want to show it. You know why? Because I don't care. You know why?
Then I
'Cause
Also-
I
delete it.
don't care.
So here's the big thing. I woke up today with a thing that said, "Hey, let you know, they're marketing the game Assassin's Creed Shadow in Japan
In Chinese.
in Chinese letters."
I saw that earlier as
Oh.
well, and then you retweeted it.
So,
Mhm.
okay, a little bit of a game dev conspiracy, Chatfish. So, you guys are familiar with what happened with Titanfall 2 with internal sabotage to basically get EA to acquire Respawn so they could puppet them
I'm
around?
not.
Okay, so to briefly make the story, Titanfall 2 was a game that didn't really get proper development time, but not only did it get not proper development time from EA, they basically made it release between Call of Duty and Battlefield, which is basically suicide for any shooter multiplayer game, because the player bases are going to be divided between those two big games, and they'll snuff out the little game caught in between. It's a developer's worst nightmare to launch their game next to a big one. It'd be like the equivalent of us launching our Legends of Terrestria RPG we're making next to fucking Elder Scrolls on the same day or something, or the day
Final
after.
Fantasy.
It would be, yeah, or Final Fantasy. It's basically like the dumbest thing you could do, because when you offer a player a choice between a game series that are really invested in and a game series they have yet to take a chance on, 90% of the time they're going to go with the game series they're invested in and never give that other game the time of day, and then forget about it because they're playing that other game, and by the time they complete that game, they'll have forgotten about that other game entirely.
Harlot says sandwich and Beano's
Yep.
choice.
What's Beano's choice?
Hey, Bino
I'm gonna guess
Sausage.
free Beano. Just
No.
gonna throw that out there.
Let me see. I was trying to help Grumpy.
As he
Did
puts
they-
$5
did
into his
they-
shackles, like,
Hmm.
gonna help. Grumpy's been helped.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay,
his
then
is
free
fun.
Bino. Yeah, then free Bino.
Then free Beano. Look at
Then
that.
go
Typical.
to me.
Yeah.
Typical.
It's like there's like a meter, and it's just a key that gets created as it reaches a full max thing, and then it drops in his hand.
And he
he's like-
smiles.
These credits, when you switch back to it, that image was one of the images that people were freaking out about how it was literally all just stolen art
Yeah.
that they just threw together in a single image.
Mm-hmm.
I would rewind it, but I know how long this is.
Yeah.
But I
I'm
know
sure there'll be
how
other ones.
long.
I'm sure there'll be other images I recognize that were part of that whole fiasco of people pointing out the just stolen art assets and art.
You know, it's funny. Those are a lot of
Irregular.
names for what it looks like a game that was made by AI.
Mobile support,
Unironically.
Crazy.
associate account support supervisor.
I'm sorry. I don't
What are you
care. I don't care.
Is this Ask Krita?
This is
Credits?
the credits.
Well, I already
Well,
got
you
my
already
money
know.
Hours of
back.
credits.
I got my money back because I refunded because I didn't want to stream this game. Because
How
okay,
much
so
to play it?
speaking of Helldivers, right? So because Helldivers 2 launched that Cowboy DLC, it saved me from playing this game. So I guess I owe Helldivers more thanks, because
Mhm.
I was like, I could stream Assassin's Creed Shadows, but then I'm like, but then I'd just be a grifter at that point. Chat didn't even pay for it. I'm like, I'm not a grifter. I'm better than that. And I thought to myself, I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna play Helldivers. Fuck this, and I refunded the game.
Bucky asked you a question though.
What?
How much to play it though?
Huh?
That's another one with the bunch of stolen art.
Okay, play it like once as a one-off stream.
Sure.
How much is the game?
Yes, Yasuke is just a.
Let me get my
remaster
calculator
version
out.
too.
70.
Yeah, because I'm adding that.
Actually, no, that's on sale in a lot of places right now.
Oh no, I'm adding that 70. Don't you fucking.
It's already on sale. And
Okay.
there's plenty of free keys that they keep giving out,
Of course they do.
so they can say how many players they have.
For a single full day stream?
Yeah.
Yeah, 500.
There you go, chat.
Generous.
$500, and then kids will play it all day.
Yeah, do
One
it.
day.
Dang.
All day.
I added $70 for the fucking the game, and then I added an additional amount for the fact that I want to be a little bit over into the next day.
Yeah.
A little
Yeah,
bit over.
I know,
into the-
Chow, because I was the one who brought it up and posted the images.
No one's gonna pay for that though.
Who's going to
Okay.
do the thumb?
$20,000. The thing is, Spider Pig, if I put it at $20,000, I won't make profit. And if I don't make profit, then I can't.
You know what?
Because I never hide what I do on YouTube. I'll play bad games for money, but only for money.
Bino should do the thumbnail and make it as majestic as the Star Wars one he did.
Oh my god.
Mhm.
Have the little scrumped up like girl be the little Asian and then like getting squeezed by the big black dude. And her eyes bulging like
Have a destroyed shrine in the background. Be great.
Oh, there you go,
Oh,
chat. The
no!
number has been set.
a destroyed shrine with that fucking
I haven't seen if they did actually release a day one patch.
They
to
did.
remove the ability. They did. Okay.
They did. They removed the ability to do that and to kill. And also, if you start killing
Customer
civilians
experience
now,
frontline, what the
they-
And
fuck
blood.
does that mean?
Ah, yeah, they removed blood.
But yes,
Customer
there's a lot of
experience.
theories going on that seems to be more and more the case that
What are these
this game
job
has been
positions?
like this game is being pushed to be sabotaged from the inside by probably Tencent so they can buy the company when this
Yep.
flops.
They don't need an accessibility design specialist. I can do that myself for my own. Okay, so Jesus Christ. So accessibility is really easy to research, by the way, for games. If you want to make your game as accessible as possible, I will cite a game I don't like because it has one of the best accessibility options menus I've ever seen. Go look at Life is Strange 2 and look at its accessibility options. It's got colorblind mode for colorblind people. It's
I thought
got
you were gonna refer to Last of Us too.
or The Last of Us, I mean. What did I say?
You said Life is Strange.
Oh yeah, no, not Life is Strange.
Cringe.
Yeah, Last of Us 2. Last of Us 2 is a terrible game, in my opinion, but it's got a lot of accessibility options, and all you gotta do is look at that and then just copy that and you're done. Boom.
Yes,
You
the
know-
Japanese government is actively suing them for them making a mockery of their history because they
Uh,
really
it's
take
not-
that stuff seriously in
It's
Japan.
not that. It's not just.
If
that,
the
it's
Japanese
copyright law
government
in
can
Japan.
sue them, then why can't, like, fucking Italy sue them for what they did to the Pope, the Vatican? You beat
Probably
the...
because Italy didn't
You
care.
beat up the Pope in Assassin's Creed
Oh.
Brotherhood.
It also
was the evil
wasn't
of-
trying to make a mockery of Italy's entire culture and history, like Shadows is.
What castle is that
uh,
based on? Like, I've never seen that. That's fantastical. That doesn't exist.
That's fucking AI art. I think.
Yes, they also I think did get caught using some AI.
Okay,
art
I'm gonna
for
say
the
this
art
ca-
book.
this castle right here, like that's more believable. That's huge, by the way. But the previous castle we were just looking at, I really doubt anything like that ever existed.
It looked like AI art when you look at it. I could point why, but like.
I do recall seeing that people were also open arms because most of the stuff with the art assets with stolen stuff was from the official art book they released, and I also do remember AI art being spotted and pointed out in that. Yes,
I was
there's a
going to
donation from
mention-
Jano for 25 PLN.
Oh, nice.
Head pats and ear scratches for Bucky for reminding me to #pray get spookied in Space Kib SF Sandwich.
Yeah.
Now, Kibbs, I'll give you an option.
What?
You can play Timekeepers. Or we can transfer all that money that has been going to Timekeepers to Prey.
You can't do that, Bucky.
Pray.
It can't, sadly, because it's already been a day.
It wasn't just you donating to it
Yeah.
either.
Okay. Well,
You
there you
shit.
Go. You get fucked.
You fucker! You did that just to make me feel bad. You did that just to make me feel.
I tried, Chad.
Like if it was something just you donated to,
Yes, I would allow it.
sure, but Like no, like a lot of people. Like anytime people do like their own choice, like one of our choices, I usually.
Yeah, because
Oh, I
otherwise
get
it'd be
it.
sabotaging them.
Kids, my hands are tied. I tried to help you.
Oh yeah, that's what you tried to torture me. Is what you did. You tortured me with the idea that you could, then tried to play it off as I'm helping.
I tried to help you,
I
kid.
tried to help you.
Oh,
It's manipulative.
thanks for reminding me, Doug Howard. So, unfortunately, I wasn't able to follow up on this and trying to find more information of it. All I'm getting is ads from games journalists about how amazing the game is. But I have seen the final boss fight and heard the music playing. I saw a tweet of someone basically saying that they translated what was being said in the song because it's like a rap song, and it just sounded like gibberish to me. The lyrics. The person who translated said that it was in Swahili, and the lyrics were basically just repeating "We will slaughter you all" over and over again.
I hate Japanese people. Wow.
Healy.
Now that
And this is the
hold
song for
on.
Yasuke when you're killing people, killing the
was that
killing bad
was
guy.
that confirmed?
No, and that's what I'm saying. I can't
Okay.
confirm it because I couldn't find the original. I couldn't.
So
find
bear in
anything after
mind,
seeing
chat,
it.
that alleged. We don't do misinformation here. Java.
That's what I'm
Also,
saying.
Chumba,
Allegedly,
Even
I
like-
tried to
even
find it
like-
again.
let's
I
say
can
that-
confirm the final song is the song that plays when you're fighting the boss is a rap song.
That's
and
awful.
it's not in English.
That's
It's
awful. But like,
It didn't
you
really
shouldn't have
sound
rap
Japanese,
music in
but
a
I couldn't
fucking.
understand what was being said
Shut
at
up!
all.
I'm too mad about this now. Okay, like you can't fucking have rap music in a game about antiquity, or not antiquity, but in this case, feudal Japan. Like I'm so no, shut up! No rap music. No rap
He's
music.
correcting
Period.
you fucking moron.
No,
Shut up.
not talking to me
He
anymore.
means Yasuke Simulator, not Shadows.
I know. I wasn't referring to what he said. Him saying that reminded me of what I was talking about.
Chumba,
Oh,
me
be quiet.
Misinformation.
No rap music.
You said that.
Get angry.
You said
No,
that
don't talk anymore.
the
Yo, you shush.
sushi-
Shush.
Be scared.
Now we're just gonna sit here in silence and be angry for 5 minutes. All right,
No.
you can speak. Go ahead, Bino.
You're saying that the Japanese government was suing them for like the historical stuff,
Or
right?
trying to.
No,
yeah.
no. From what I read, it was not that they were using copyright law, because copyright law is much more strict and like cringe in Japan. So they were using the copyright law to go after the shrine usage, and also they use like logos and things from groups in Japan that didn't authorize that use.
Yes, there was blatant theft of stuff,
Yeah.
and one shrine one you're talking about is being that one, as far as I'm aware, is being sent against Ubisoft by a specific shrine that they are claiming that they basically just stole, copy pasted basically the entire shrine into the game.
They stole One Piece stuff, my dudes. They stole like One Piece katana.
Wait, what do you
design.
mean the copy to shrine?
Basically, the entire the marketing thing for when they show him destroying shrines. The claim I saw was basically that entire shrine, the way it's designed, the building, everything, is literally just a recreation of an actual shrine
But
that
shouldn't it
is
be?
owned.
Should it be? I
'Cause I
don't
thought-
think it matters.
I know it doesn't matter, but like as far as I'm aware, Assassin's Creed has like a history of always making things accurate or trying to.
It used to.
True.
Now,
yes.
granted, in this particular case, like this game's ass, so I don't really care as much here. I don't really.
So I think the issue being here is that because they have fucked up so royally up and down the line and have been just disrespectful outright to the Japanese culture,
Mm.
that they're looking at this as another example of, hey, they recreated this just so they could damage our fucking
This-
spit on us more.
Blake is pointing out and saying you need permission to show them, like you need permission from places to have stuff on them, and they never got permission.
Yeah, they don't need permission to do that.
Well, apparently, Japanese law, they
Japanese
that,
law is
Japanese law.
archaic, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Sure, they also
But-
put people in prison for
using a
modifying
mod.
Pokemon files.
Yeah, so like in this particular case, don't get me wrong, I want to shit on Ubisoft, but like, fuck,
Japan has very draconian laws.
Japan's laws are so bad that if you mod a video game, they'll put you in fucking prison. Like they have no fucking ground to stand on. Shut the fuck up.
Now,
Shut
now,
the
now, if I
fuck
touch on
up.
the cultural thing, the latest thing I saw was literally the Prime Minister calling out Ubisoft and wanting to launch an investigation to
Yep.
see
To
what
be
kind of
honest,
legal damages, legal
I would
and
be
cultural
very
damages
honest.
they can levy against
I
Ubisoft.
think I think that would be a nothing burger at the end of the day.
Probably.
Because
I mean, the big thing is
like
like, okay, what's the point of launching an investigation? You're giving the game more attention. Like, if you want this game to hurt Japan, like the best thing to do is just ignore it and let it die. You
I
know why? Because
you know what's the point?
this game is flopping, as far as I'm
Okay.
aware, pretty badly.
You
They're only
you
talking about player numbers, and they've been actively killing the game and giving
Yeah,
out free
so
copies
justice-
to anyone and everyone.
Justice is already being served. They're already eating their shit, so to speak.
but I know why they're putting an investigation on, because it's very simple. When you have an excuse to create a government spendage, you use
Oh,
it so
government
that you can.
spending. Yep. Okay, bro.
You get what I mean? It's like they don't care about the game. They're just like, okay, I have a friend that works in like this industry, and like, oh, there's this game. You get what I mean? It's just that they're going to give like their friends a few jobs for a few months, and nothing's going to come out of it. Hey, Farmer Ghost for $20. Well, time to work second shift today. Was nice hearing discourse over the Helldivers 2 non-issue. Drifters annoy me. I really don't want you to play the bad Assassino.
We don't have to.
It deserves more cover.
Just
If
don't fund
chat
it.
doesn't fund it,
doesn't
it won't
deserve it.
happen.
Yeah.
And
Hashtag
You
good
choose
luck
the
with
content.
Hashtag
Yeah, thank you for the nation.
Bribe me.
Good luck with the
You choose the
second
content you
shift. And
watch.
before you go, Ghost, would you like to put that towards Cookie as well?
Good work, Ghost. Thank you for the donation.
Yeah, thank you for the nation. And be good, and good luck at work, you little chatafisherino.
Bribe me, chat, and I won't fund Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Bribe me and I won't do that.
If you fund it, I.
Oh, Mbappé says, aren't you raiding a tomb of a current Japan emperor ancestor in the game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're also impregnating like one of the ancestors of.
Yes, one of the romance things is basically Yasuke is basically mixes with Yasuke has direct bloodline descendants in the emperors.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Because the one woman you could romance
We was kings.
is a
They actually did
historical
it. They
figure
did it.
who literally her like offspring died online or with like the later emperors.
I like how none of that lineage-wise ever passed on. Like that doesn't make any sense.
Well, they saw the they saw the one that looked
Bino.
different.
Riffer gives 5
Mm.
memberships.
Hey, River, thank you. I didn't say it.
When he knew he was being
I
naughty.
didn't.
Thank you for the membership.
As a reminder, there is a bounty on Foxnix, which is on the way to getting an animated Chatfish as well.
A bounty, you say?
A Foxquix bounty.
One
Yeah, they
day
inserted him
Olga
into the
made,
bloodline of
To
the
Artemis's
Emperor.
choice. What does Artemis want? He only gave you one tag, technically.
Timekeepers.
Is that
What's
almost
time
funded?
keepers
Like,
again?
Jesus Christ, that's got to be getting close.
Yeah, 115, basically.
What's
Oh, okay.
Timekeepers, by the way?
It's a bad Stargate game. Like, Stargate
Ah,
got a video game, but it was from Slytherin. So.
Hold on. It can't be a bad Stargate game if it's the only Stargate game.
There's got to
the
be
best
other
Stargate
Stargate
game.
games. You know what I'm sad? Oh my god, so Star Trek Elite Force is amazing, and I wish the Elite Force devs made a Stargate game, because the fact that they managed to make a first-person shooter out of the Star Trek setting is impressive.
They did?
Yeah, it's called Star Trek Elite Force. It's pretty good.
It takes place on Voyager, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Never heard of.
it's like randomly
Yeah,
out of the
you get
blue.
the
Great
Infinity
game for no reason.
Modulator or whatever. Gun.
Oh yeah, the modulator for the fighting the Borg. But yeah, those devs, because they were so creative with the weapons, it would have been amazing if those devs had made a Stargate game, because their weapon gunplay would have been awesome.
Oh yeah, W is just reminding me. So, what? I don't know if you guys remember one of the marketing strategies for Shadows was showing like they were amazing and how cool it was when you could like cut bamboo and it'd be like the physics of it and whatnot.
It
Like cutting
was
down walls of
horrible.
bamboo.
But the
Yeah.
physics are missing.
I've seen in game now because like one of the advertising ones like look at that straight the cut is and like all that stuff like and people fake gushing over how amazing it looked. In game when you cut it, it doesn't even look anything like that. Like it's all jagged edges and it looks like shit.
What I saw people posting the Metal Gear Rising Revengeance.
Yeah,
like,
cutting mechanics, which
where
are
he could've-
better.
Yeah.
it was amazing back then. Like I was like, oh my god, this.
You
And, like,
know,
they
that
were
was
posting
cool.
that. Yeah.
I'm glad to
Like
see they
you
really
were
didn't have
just
enough
like
art
me, trying to
assets
change
for the credits.
history.
This is the only good.
Goddamn
That was the
Buggy.
only good Metal Gear. Yeah.
That song is so good. The songs are so goddamn catchy and memeable.
No, the soundtrack designers of Revengeance, like that, they're the ones that made the game great.
That's the best Metal Gear. Like I played the others and like they were all bad. That's the only one that I played. It was fun.
The other Metal Gears are too much for Beano's tiny brains.
Damn,
They're just
Beano.
bad, man.
My only complaint
Like-
about the other Metal Gears is the camera working is I'm not a big fan of, and the tank controls. If
So
they
Frederick-
remade them with like standard third-person controls and didn't ruin the formula, I think I'd probably appreciate them a lot more.
Frederick clarifies the woman you're romancing was Nobunaga's sister, and she is the ancestor of 18 Japanese emperors.
God damn.
Now imagine you're a slave, right? And you go and you impregnate the
A slave whose
daughter.
only historic thing was being known for was for being a slave and being in one battle where you surrendered immediately.
He surrendered immediately.
And
Yep.
his entire thing was he had to be called a retainer because he worked for Nobunaga, and it would be culturally wrong for someone to serve him that was of a lower status.
Yep.
But Nobunaga thought he looked funny, so that's why
He
wanted
let
him.
it come around
Yeah.
because he thought he looked funny.
Yeah.
Because he was tall,
to be
big,
honest-
and like basically imagine
Black.
being like a little Asian dude, right? In this period, you've never seen other people besides Asians, and maybe you've seen a white man. And white men are like these tall, like weird, like fucking, like FBI creatures when they walk through things, like they plays a woo, you know, like
And then-
creepy. Then you see an even taller, like black dude, and you're like, holy shit, dude, that guy's
And he
huge.
does that face.
And you can be like, you can be my retainer because people will be scared because you'll just step on them. You'll just step on them. Because this like the height thing is a huge thing, right? That's why the Romans or the Romans very much was a big fan of ranking guard, right? Because these tall Nordic warriors like walking around this short, stubby little emperor, basically protecting him as his bodyguards.
Mhm.
Nobody wanted to
And
fuck
then
with the
black dude
emperor.
does that face.
I'm not gonna show chat because I don't know what you're doing.
Okay.
I fucking
No,
love
I'll,
that face.
because Chow wanted it brought up, I'll post it in the stream room.
Alright, let me cover my screen while
So-
this plays.
Yasuke, to give an idea for just how lazy they were, and there's nothing inherently wrong with reusing assets. But so Yasuke's entire model is just a model that was made for a cut DLC for the division called Heartland. And you can see him there on the left.
Oh my god, there he is right there.
All they did was change his clothes. They didn't change like anything else about the model.
Did you
Wow.
guys notice that Yasuke has a better armor than Nobunaga in the trailers? Like,
Damn.
better armor. Even his horse
Hold
has
on.
better armor.
He needs better armor to compensate because Nobunaga's got charisma. It's like, whoa.
Charisma.
Yeah.
So to be clear, remember he raids fucking tombs. to
Yeah,
get better
see,
weapons.
it would be okay if it was just the Japanese girl that did that. But like, ooh, that's she's raiding the tombs or whatever. But it's like it's not just the Japanese dude. It's like somebody else who's not even from here smashing the shrines. I don't think people would have as much of a problem with the shrine thing or the killing civilians if it was just a Japanese dude. Because I played quite a few Japanese sandboxing games, and they let you do that in a lot of them, and there's no problem. Like that one we just played not that long ago. That's a Souls-esque one where you can kill Japanese civilians and like loot their like fucking tombs and stuff. Like they have that. The issue is that it was a fucking I don't know. We played it last week or something. You can check the streams. It's one of those games. Either way, this fucking game does that too. However, instead of you being a Japanese dude, you're this motherfucker. You know this?
He's like, that fucking
People-
face, man.
People have also pointed out how, like, in a comment, like, why is this even set in Japan when the main character is a black guy and the final boss of the game is some Portuguese guy?
with that name, he didn't sound. He
Yeah, the
didn't
answer
look
is
Portuguese.
slavery labad, and you're going after your slave masters who gave you the Nobunaga. That's it.
Why is this Ask Creed?
Bucky paid for us to watch the credits, and I know why. Look at the time. 2 hours and 6 minutes. There's 2 hours and
Of
6
credits.
minutes, but
Chat, the credits alone are almost as long as the fucking Lord of the Rings movie we
extended
watched
edition. Yes,
Yeah, that we watched last night.
because
I've also heard
that's almost 3 hours. Yeah.
the prologue for Shadows has 3 hours of cutscenes.
So that people
Oh.
can refund this thing.
Oh, sorry, I'm just fucking.
It's because
dying.
these people can't tell a story without a cutscene. And even then, their stories are told terribly.
Cutscenes are fine in game. They can be a nice point to break up the motions, right? But then usually you know, try to keep a lot of the story interactive, so the players, playing the game while there's a
I
cutscene.
used to like
as
cutscenes,
bad-
and
There's story happening.
As bad as the story is for Monster Hunter Wilds,
Oh, it's
you at
terrible.
least fight a monster between the cutscenes.
I mean, that's the Monster Hunter Wilds story entirely. It's like, herpa derpa derpa derpa, fight monster. Herpa derpa derpa derpa, fight monster. And it's like, can we cut out the herpa derpa and just do the monster fighting bit? Can we cut out the herpa?
I've heard an argument that the story is worse in Wilds because you have to engage with it.
Honestly,
Oh, here's all
they
the
should.
licensing stuff.
There's some games that really shouldn't have stories, and Monster Hunter is one of them. Its story is bad, but its gameplay is really fun.
Just let the player just enjoy the semi-sandbox nature of the game. Just let them do that.
Reproduction in binary form? What? I'm talking about binary form.
This is the legal stuff that they just put into the credits.
Control C, Control V.
This. No one's gonna remember this game. I would rather play Star Wars Outlaws than this. Like, that's not good either.
Terms and conditions for reproduction and distribution.
1. Document. What document? What are we talking about? Why is there documents being mentioned?
This is the legal terms
Ah.
and conditions that they had to agree to when they used different software to make the games. Then they just copy pasted it into the credits.
What the fuck? Not a contribution. Contributor shall mean licensor and any individual or legal entity on behalf of whom. 2, 3, grant patent license subject to terms and conditions. 4, redistribution. You may prove to. What the fuck?
How
Like I said,
half-assed is this game? Like, Christ.
it's extremely habit. All
This
of the
should.
budget
Somebody
for this
accidentally.
game went to advertising,
This
main
shouldn't be in here.
influencers, and the DEI writers. That's all. All the money
Somebody
for the game.
accidentally copy and pasted a fucking legal document inside the fucking credits. Like, what the fuck?
Yep.
And nobody checked it.
Not just one legal document. The legal
All of
document that's
them.
used for all of the different software programs they used.
you know what's funny? And I
End of
don't think
terms
this
and
is going to
conditions.
trend.
Appendix. How to apply Apache license to your work. To apply Apache license to your work, attach the following boilerplate. The what? The boilerplate? What? What is the boiler? What?
Boilerplate notice.
What is this? This shouldn't be in here. This isn't even the credits anymore. It's just like legal
This
jargon.
is what I wanted to see.
Yeah.
Carnegie Mellon University and contributors to this work disclaim all warranties and regular. And here's a bunch of.
Look at those-
software scripts.
Oh my god! What the fuck? It's a script.
Fucking
Right there,
hell.
look.
Wow.
Oh no! Oh no! Why is that there? This is code.
This can't be.
It's more so a call for code, but yeah, it is unironically all the
Copies, control.
SRC
Yeah,
audio,
file.
audio.
Yeah, their file locations and stuff like
File
that.
studio
Why?
map CST file. Oh no! Somebody fucked up bad.
Someone's gonna
Not
get
somebody.
fired.
Oh, I think everybody fucked up from the top down.
someone's getting fired today, and it ain't gonna be the guy that made this.
I think it's everybody that made this game. I think it's.
Yep.
Oh no, they won't get fired. They'll stay around. and
Lang,
keep doing
use
this.
English.
Quality
Lang,
control
use
right
English.
here.
Language English
get started.
USF0LR.C.
Config
Configure.subs.
Are you fucking
Config.
kidding me?
Yes. Oh. Speech G 723_40.C. Oh my god.
None of it's
I'm betting-
underwater.
I'm-
No support without any obligation on the part of Sun Microsystems.
I bet no one like checked to
No
make sure
one's
this wasn't
looked.
shit.
No one has even looked at the credits.
This
Because it
reminds
was
me.
so long.
So this reminds me of Mass Effect Andromeda when it was launched with its fucked up cutscenes because no one decided to check.
Yep, they just.
I saw a GitHub link there, by the way.
Yep, no, there's been a few.
Oh no, they
What
docked
did you do
someone's
that-
fucking. Oh, Daniel at Hex. That was their
Mhm.
email for a second.
We need to send this to Robin. Like, he...
Like, why do I feel
Oh,
like
yeah, make him
Kibbs,
watch
so
it.
Kibbs.
I'm expecting to
Um,
read this and say like, please remember not to put this in or something like that.
I want to
Don't
see a
worry.
local drive
Don't
link
worry,
on
'cause
here.
I'll make sure the credits for in the Terrestrial War document are exactly like this.
Yeah,
After all,
Kibbs,
we want to
what-
be as good as AAA, don't we?
an HTTP link, Kibbs. Look at that.
LLVM.org. Well, there you go, chat. You can go to LLVM.org.
I saw some JSON files too. Instead of
Yeah.
each.
I want to see a local drive, like a C drive link.
Oh my god.
one,
Is that
like,
just
show
the
up.
rest of this, like, 20 minutes is just this
Yep.
shit?
Yep, it's just that.
The credits were already asinine in terms of how fucking bad.
license.txt, Kibbs?
Oh my god. Program directory. Google
Okay, kids.
test.
It's unironically they just
I can't believe I released the
They
game
just
that's better.
Control C Control V the fucking GitHub link.
Yep.
And just everything that was in there.
Yep. It's basically a print statement.
Would you rather play this
Reserved
game or...
font name refers to any name specified as such after the copyright statements.
Imagine if there's like a really hidden like piece of text in here.
See,
somewhere
whenever I
that was just-
like,
that
what's
they
funny
revealed
is
this
that
was all a job.
I want to like dump on Ubisoft, right? But at the same time, like, I don't want to do it reasonably. But at the same time, it's like people are like, oh, you can kill civilians, and it's like that's a nothing burger. Don't be a big baby.
Everyone
then-
wanted that
But then
forever.
this game is like, anytime you try to throw a little bit of like a rope or a bit of credit, it's like it ties it around its neck and then just kicks the chair out underneath
Yes,
it.
Billy Donuts puts out the game was delayed for polishing, and one of the polishing was to make the parkour feel good, which apparently is a completely broken mess. I've heard. is the
Open
parkour in the game.
SSL? Secure socket layer? Or is it something else?
I don't remember.
I don't have my Code Monkey Binsky here right now.
I think this.
I think it would
go
give him an
to-
aneurysm.
No, I think he would die. Like he would start looking at this and like, I'm going to the hospital. BRB is like.
By the way, that slash and then star is like a recursive. Like you go into every file in that list, all the way down. Kids, you're stop,
is wigging
stop,
out.
stop making your thing wig out, you fuck.
What? I was like looking down.
I know, and your thing was like,
She was
like
licking down.
Does it wake up?
Arif was wiggling her teeth for the audience. Yeah.
she was spazzing. Yes. Hey, look at JSON.org. There it is.
The reason I'm looking down is because I was reading the fucking thing at the bottom of my screen where it says Gamers Pray, and that's just the channel here. For a second there, I was like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is...
Wonder how many times "as is" stated.
Can this, like, hurry the fuck up? Up!
No, kids, you have to watch it all.
Would you rather play this game or play Fish Quest 2?
This game.
This game, yeah.
Damn.
At least we know what we're getting into.
Damn. The octopus broke. The speed broke. You
But you know, he doesn't want to play Fish Quest 2 because he doesn't want Bond showing him up again.
know? Ah, yeah.
I have to bond ban.
Bond ban. Yeah.
This is the first release version of the library GPL. It is numbered 2 because it goes with version 2 of the ordinary GPL.
That's dumb. It's really dumb.
I hate when people make style.
Is there a rule about putting it on 2x speed? Yes.
Yes,
Artemis
you can.
paid for Kibbs to watch the full thing, the full duration.
I only allowed Kibbs to not watch the actual people names because I don't care about the people.
I like how they didn't even try to format it either.
No,
It was just a single line the whole way down.
it is direct copy with fucking.
Well, I'm talking about when they're doing the people's names. They didn't even format any of that. It was just straight line, no formatting done to make it look nice.
The library below. So now we're going to see a library of source codes.
It just won't stop.
So, Kios, while this is playing in the background, do you want to tell chat what our community event is today?
Today, chat, we'll be playing Halo 3 with you, the Chatfish. Like, wow, that's us, the Chatfish. I know, I said that already.
Now I'll say this, since we have a while to go on this anyways. You can still DM me about any modes or maps you want to have for the community event, because no one has. And I know some of you expressed interest in, oh, could we have this, or could we do this mode?
That's because
I
chat.
can't have
okay,
a mode
so
like that if you don't
let me help
DM
you. So
about it.
chat is retarded, and the Chatfish are retarded. So what you must do is you need to actually contact them directly in DMs immediately.
I need you to look for any of the zombie maps that have like the bases on them that the zombies have to get through.
Those ones are good.
Well, I got time. I'll start looking.
Speak of zombies, I hate when games make like, I'm going to make my zombie and it's going to be like just like a normal zombie with a blue
fast
filter. No, with
How
a
d-
blue filter on it. And instead of bleeding blood, it bleeds like purpurine or something.
For the Chatfish,
Okay.
by the Chatfish, but the Chatfish are retarded.
Retarded. Now, Gibbs, what's the plan for next week?
Next week's community event is Ghosts or
No.
Ghosts again?
Among Us.
Next
We
week
did Ghost
is
last time.
Among
Yeah,
Us.
next week is my birthday.
No,
Wow.
just for Bino.
Yeah.
All right, Bino, we're gonna do a stream where Bino's gonna be on during the birthday stream, and we're gonna make fun of Bino the entire time.
So, Pete, I got a question. Is your birthday April 1st?
No.
Damn,
It's
Bino.
next Saturday.
Okay, so the 29th.
Death to Bino. Death to Bino.
I'll add that to my book of information.
The Bino. The lore on the Bino Bible has expanded.
I'm pretty sure that it would be very, very.
I like how he just trails off. Doesn't complete the thought.
He's like, uh-oh. Is he realized?
Let me see how. Okay, good. Thank you, Rifford. Rifford has reached out for a request. I think it's a bad request, personally. No offense, Rifford.
What? What is
Well,
this?
Wow.
He wants a
Fucking
map
mean,
and
no
mode.
wonder.
No, he wants a map and mode that I made that is really fucking stupid,
Mm-hmm.
but it is fun, and with multiple people, it's just gonna be cancer.
They have a curl command in there? What?
Yeah, what are you gonna do about it? He's like, nothing.
I mean, we can try it, but I don't think it's gonna go well.
It just won't end. They just keep going and going.
I will be changing. Okay, let me see. Custom.
Free
How
type
do I
prompt
use-
engine,
Hey,
various
Jar-
tools
hey.
and contributions which rely upon.
Damn.
Free type
Independent
projects.
JPEG Gibbs.
That not only that, but look what Harlot wrote. Bino, it's your spawn day. Wow, I don't care.
Wow, you
Damn,
dared enough to tag me
Bino.
and try to be edgy.
Bino, no.
Right, how?
It's okay,
Harlot.
Dino. I care.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
See?
playing at the 2
Well,
times speed because I was paid to play it at normal speed. All right, so other Bunchcast subjects. System Shock remastered. I already talked about it. But I'm gonna be
I have
picking
a
it
bunch.
up. Chatfish,
I have a
hold
bunch.
on, no, be quiet. I'm trying to do our job, and make us money. You're just trying to cost me money. Now, so, chat, if you would like to get your Chatfish on the System Shock 2 remaster thumbnail, you can. Yes, that's right, chat. You too can be a system fish that gets shocked.
Hold on, System Shock 2.
Yeah, System Shock 2 remastered.
I don't know if that's queued up for a thumbnail yet.
It isn't. Because we didn't know when it was
need
going to
make
launch.
that.
Yeah, so chat, you need to buy onto that right now.
No, it is. It already is.
If you
Actually, that
don't...
one's in fun already.
No, that's System Shock 2, just basic System Shock 2.
Oh, okay. I'll make a thing then for System Shock Remaster.
Goofy boy. Yeah, we already streamed that ages ago.
No, you didn't. Because the thumbnail was never made for it.
What the fuck? We streamed it without the thumbnail because it took so goddamn long. That was like years ago, though. What the fuck?
That was System Shock 1.
Yeah.
This one was a newer one that Hans did. And I know it's a new one because it's where it's ordered in the list.
Hans tried to, yeah, because I told Hans, like, you gotta play the original. And I said, no, I'm not. I'm gonna wait till 2.
Okay, well, I'm making System Shock 2 Remastered. It's now listed. Chatfish can buy on.
Good. Yes, good Chatfish. Good fish. Good. Who's good Chatfish? Like me. Me, good
Thank you.
Chatfish.
Thank you, Spunk. Also, I have a quick subject if you guys want to talk about it.
Here's the subject before we decide what we want to talk about.
Is,
I actually have a
is-
question unrelated.
Is because it's about how like people like try to do parodies and to melt.
I hate Bino.
games and
Bino's
do
trying to talk
bad
to us.
parodies. Because you know, like this game was coming out, right?
Yeah.
And they started trying to gas up like a parody game called Yazuki Simulator,
Mm-hmm.
but it was basically like people were like, yeah, this game is going to this and that, but like the guy that released an even worse game than this one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like the Snoop game, so I can understand.
Yeah, so it's basically one of those things like, yeah, like if you're trying to parody the bad game, but you release even worse, and like more low effort game, is it even a parody at this point, or are you just being like trying to get what I mean?
It's just a, people over anticipate, they're overconfident in their own abilities to make a game compared to a massive corporation.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I can understand.
Yeah.
Now, what were you gonna say?
That was the thing. That time I saw this game and I remember that.
Mm-hmm. Rapier.
I'm just trying to figure out how to view like custom-made maps because there's the workshop, but that's a different thing.
Yeah. So Chatfish. Start at the end of next Wednesday. Kibbs will be free from his suffering.
What?
The no carb.
Oh,
diet.
yes. I will
Oh,
be.
that can-
What are you drinking today, Kibbs?
Wawa in a copper cup.
Why is it in a copper cup?
Because copper conducts cold better. And stays cooler
cancer.
longer.
And cancer better also.
It doesn't conduct cancer, you stupid more.
Myanmar Karen word list. Interesting.
What?
I'm reading the fucking credits, Kibbs.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking at fucking weird like database numbers.
How come this
Library of
won't...
XML2, huh?
how long is it?
You know what this feels like? You know when there's a corpse on the road and there's like a bunch of kids like poking the corpse with a stick?
No,
like,
Bino, we don't, because we don't live in a third world country, Bino. People don't do that here. Poking a corpse with a stick. No, don't. No. Bino bad. Bino bad. Bino. He's always a bad Bino. He says things,
Man.
yeah, damn yourself, boy, we bad little Bino. Yeah.
Man.
Damn.
So
Hey,
Kibbs,
Bino.
is there anything coming up in the project line that you're excited about?
Project line for what?
Your channel.
The new model, the lore videos.
Okay, so how close is the new model, Kibbs? Also, you're glitching again.
Just I'm playing with like something on my
No.
desk.
Yeah.
Weekly.
So like I don't know, Bon. How close is it? I was told two. I was told 2 weeks, I believe, but I can't 100% remember. The new
PNG
model
reference
we'll
library.
get, and then after we get the model, then we'll get the lore videos finally, and then the lore videos will finally start being made, and that'll be pretty awesome. Why do you ask? What do you ask?
I'm just saying, is you have nothing else to talk about, and you're obviously dying
Yeah,
of.
They're like
So,
Kilbino.
Chatfish. I think we can safely say that grifters are bad. They're bad. Good job, Chatfish.
I like how OpenSSL is being brought up again in this fucking list.
Why won't it stop? This is more like A's is Creed. As is Creed.
I think this is the funny thing about this is that like it's the perfect like end to this game is basically like a massive fuck you.
The worst part is I don't even care about this game. The worst part is Give DM. BVOs! BVOs! Just start screaming at him. BVOs!
And yes, chat, you're correct. A copper cup will conduct heat faster, meaning it'll warm up Kibbs' water faster when he's holding it.
Mm-hmm.
I grabbed by the handle, not the fucking copper.
Is the handle copper?
It's very disconnected.
You didn't answer my question.
Ips, do you understand thermodynamics?
No, it's not copper.
I see. I understand it too.
Okay then. If it's not copper, then you're relatively okay.
Well, is there
These cups I bought were actually for alcoholic beverages because they said
Mhm.
that they help conduct cooling better. And they're pretty nice, but they actually do stay colder longer.
Well, copper cups are also good with wine because of the how wine affects regular glass and metal.
Hammer note tomorrow. We got to do testing for the face, by the way. What? Why can't you just make it work now? What your face?
Because you're like one of the least expressive people on the planet.
What? That's preposterous. I'm more expressive than all of you combined.
Yeah, that's why your model's mouth doesn't move hardly ever.
That's
because you keep lowering your face.
Yeah, he does.
That's
You need to put more
That's not my
expression into it.
fault. That's your fault.
No, it's because he lowers the face.
Make
because
funny
that's,
faces. Make
that's
funny
a
He
sign
is.
of
He's actively
producer.
trying to hurt his face by forcing his mouth into certain directions.
No, if I was doing that, I'd do something goofy.
Do the VTuber one where they look really surprised, where they have big eyes and look sad.
I'm not doing that.
Pogger's face.
You know, Kibbs is becoming more and more Asian as his eyes get closed.
Oh my god, you're a fucking big baby. The
Be
big
careful,
ba-
kids, if you become
They're
too
getting
much
close
Asian,
because this stupid outro. I'm
this threat is going to
sleepy.
affect
I'm
you.
not
also-
expressive. I stream for fucking 9 hours a day. You fuck off.
Mhm.
Okay, I might
think-
have found a version of what you were talking about.
Oh, you did it, Kibbs!
Oh, it's over. It's over.
Yeah, link it to me, Kamigawa, and I'll just tell you.
Well, it's not the one I originally know of, but
So there's the
I'll
one
try
on
to
high
get it.
ground that works. So just send it to me and I'll look at it.
here, I'm just sending you the link to where I found it, because you can look through stuff as well.
I think Chatfish belong to me as my little slaves.
I'm gonna check the map
Like
right now
slave.
and look at the mode.
I don't think.
How much to watch it in reverse? $10,000.
Nick next week's
Jeff's like,
I will watch it
Shrivels.
in reverse if kids watch it in reverse.
All right, chat. We've got some stuff to show off now. Some actually cool things, like where. So Beefio sent me something to show you, chat bitches. Chat bitches. Chat bitches. Fucking mad.
Yeah, first, you fat fuck.
Chat bitches. Scream. Baffio's posted some new progress on our Astrian Lyak mounted troopers. Take a look. Chatfishes, look, your money has made this. You have made this happen, chat. You did this.
Can you?
Baffio's like,
can you
I
eat the
did
likes?
that, you bastard.
A question: can you eat the likes?
Yeah, you can. Like, they're very tough.
Mm,
You want to boil that for a while. You want to boil the
I
tender.
feel like the shields were a bit too long.
Carlos should be consulted first.
He should be.
But it looks pretty good.
They do look good.
If Carlos signed off on it, then odds are it's good. And if it isn't, then
Yeah.
I'll do a double take, and then I'll break Carlos's neck.
And
Then I'll
kill
break
Carlos.
Carlos's neck.
Okay, so let's see. Into Halo.
When are the Warhammer prices coming? What do you mean Warhammer prices, Hero UE? You say $10,000. You think we're gonna sell units individually? You think we're barbaric? We're gonna sell it as a bundle. You just buy one army, you get the whole thing for like $40 or something, including the books. Jake, what the eyes pops out of their sockets. I know it's revolutionary, but it should have been done ages ago. It's honestly just kind of sad that we're behind the times technologically, but somebody has to be smart. It might as well be me. Ah, tastes
Some
like
of you may die.
Wawa.
That's the sacrifice.
Missing the lances. Well, I'm not sure which. They're scout cavalry. They don't have lances. They're just there for scouting.
No, those are scouts.
If they're fighting,
don't have
they
the-
fucked up. If they're fighting, they fucked up.
They only have the bird wives.
They're light, they're fast, they're nippy. They can dismount, they're cute and cuddly. They're like, well, we could cuddle
Yeah,
them.
you can cuddle with them.
And
And take them to bed.
laying next to the big burly Astrian with a mustache, looking at them at the corner of his eyes. It's like, don't know if this was what I wanted.
Maybe that's what life's like.
Ew. Oh, you want to know the colors for the Liax? The best way to do that, because I don't know the exact names for each color. I know that Carlos knows them by heart. So DM Carlos, you can ask him for painting tips. He does respond to that. Because he actually does care. You know, if you guys actually paint the models and intend to paint them and you want to know what the colors and stuff like that, he'll supply you with all the deets. He's made out all the color mappings, and we're going to have those assigned with the models as well. Color cards and stuff. So you can see which colors you need to get to paint them.
Carlos is a good boy.
You might accidentally steal the fantasy market, would be hilarious. I don't want the fantasy market. I want my market. I want my chatfish. My chatfish. But yeah, we don't sell individual units because that's honestly unethical. We don't separate the armies from the books because that's also unethical. You should just have to buy an army. We also don't intend to sell the core rulebook at the present date because I personally think it's distasteful. I think you should be able to read rules for a game if you're expected to get invested into it, because not doing that would be unethical.
That kind of created. That's how like the whole card game problem was back in the day. Like kids would buy Magic, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh.
The
cards
entire
and
idea
play.
is honesty and being ethical with business. So the idea is that people can try, like each army comes with a trial army, right? We're not going to even make you buy the Ashen Army if you don't want to, because it'll be a free trial army you can try to see if you like to play with them first. That way you don't waste money on something you possibly don't want. And that way you're encouraged to try all the nations, because all the nations are cool. And if you don't like one's playstyle, you don't have to buy it. And you're like, good thing I tried it. I didn't really want to buy it. And then you save money. And we earn your loyalty and respect. And you become my little slaves. It's all part of my slave strategy. Slave strategy.
Is the
Shields are
fish
fine, no
to
reason to be
slave
autistic.
pipe-
Of course shields are fine.
The shield fish to slave pipeline.
Damn. I don't need a wider audience, shit. I only need you. You're already wide enough. She's like,
They start pointing to your cheeks, like you're wide enough for all of us.
damn. Chat
Don't worry,
bitches.
chat. Soon that those chicks will be in skirt for auto.
All right, Chatfish. But yeah, the Layak mounted cavalry looks like they're. I'm not sure if they've entered testing print yet, BPOs. If she just happen to be too big, I'll fix them in no time. Yeah, you can. I know you know how to do that. Bappies, you're fucking good at your job. You're good at your job. But
I could just be being autistic.
Jumba should be saving those
are.
particular critiques and opinions for a developer meeting.
My apologies.
Yeah, fucking grovel, bitch. But no, on a serious note, jokes aside, you should probably save those for those things. Because, again,
Mhm.
that's what we call muddying the water before Because when we want the chat's opinion, our community opinion, I don't want the water muddied. I want them to formulate their own opinions and then judge accordingly based on their opinions. When you muddy the water, what that does is that immediately creates an air of like, it's got to be this way or it's got to be that way. And so then people are going to then hyperfixate. Because my audience is a bit autistic, they're going to fixate.
Only a bit.
Even, especially if they're like wrong on something, because we had to correct them with the armor, like layering, because they're like, what? Chainmail shouldn't be, and the Carlos had to like fucking break it down to somebody. Because Carlos is a HEMA dude. He actually knows what he's talking about. He actually knows. But yeah, Chatfishies. So, we're going to be playing some Halo 3. You are welcome to come play with us, Chatfish. Actually, no, you're not welcome. You are mandated to die by my hands today. So, if you're ready to die by my hands, Kib, you may join us there. And if anybody would like to, or no, I think we got through. Chad had plenty of times to say stuff if they wanted to do something else, but they didn't. They just sat there. You gotta go watch Married with Children Have Fun, lads. Take care. Be strong, BVOs. He's already got kids? What? BVOs, when did that happen? Or did I forget?
Married
That's
with
a minute.
Kids is a fucking show.
Oh, okay,
That's
okay,
so
okay. I was like, BVO's already pumped out some little beefos? Jesus. That's
Man,
fast.
He is good at 3D modeling, Kips. He needs to pump those out. He's
Thump,
like,
thump, thump,
I need-
thump. Oh my god,
Please,
he gets the
please.
little kids and then he starts putting them into the print mines, and so
Yeah.
they're just sitting there printing and looking at their dad with hatred. I hate you.
just
When
like-
they grow to respect your dad as the master printer himself.
Yep, massive.
You know that Power Word ad that had like all the squirrels in the assembly line falling from overwork? That's based like the kids.
These turned out really good Baffios. God damn you.
Nigga.
Oh wait, did they put some tile things there for Chatfish to play with? That's cool. That's a cool idea. Little brush for the little plates. Or I think that's just for this, I think. I think that's just for this. Alright, chat. We'll see you in the next stream. Get ready for some Halo Brawl time. See you shortly, Chatfish. Bye.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Have a good one.